be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
Shout out to Jacob Frederick, who's been a member of the SCN for 8 months. He says, yo, Steel, let's get a win tomorrow night. Go Steelers. Damn straight, Jacob. Damn straight. Shout out to Jacob Frederick, and shout out to you guys for tuning in for yet another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. This episode is powered by our great friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We're here live on this Friday night to talk about the regular season finale between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals. It's hilarious that the Bengals were 4-8 the last time we faced these folks. Just not too long ago. Week, was it 13? And now they've run the table thus far. They've won 4 straight and can make it 5 straight. And they have a slim chance of making the playoffs. But you know, the Bengals are going to bring everything that they have in the Heinz Field tomorrow night for some Saturday night football. We are just 24 hours away from watching mid-game, the Steelers versus Bengals, which is going to be a high-intake game. It's going to be high stakes, a lot of playoff implications in regards to both teams and in regards to Steelers in terms of seeding, and the Bengals trying to keep their season alive and hoping for a couple favors for Sunday. But me as a Steelers fan, man, I just feel like sweeping the Bengals this year. I think that's always a good time. I think that's a great goal to get. That's a great way to kick off 2025, and I would rather prevent them from even having the hope for Sunday. I'd rather just end their season tomorrow night. Crush their hopes and dreams, just finish them off, end the season. You know, the usual way, the old Steeler way as they used to do things, right? Yes. How we used to own Cincinnati. We still do, by the way. But this go-around, man, it will be a tough task considering the issues that the Steelers have seemed to be dealing with right now. Not just that, but if they risk a loss tomorrow, they risk the idea and the great chance that if they were to lose versus the Bengals and the Chargers beat the Raiders, which is very likely come Sunday, the Steelers would fall to the 6th seed, meaning they would go to Baltimore for the wild card. Now it's another AFC North battle. You're not gonna hear me whimper and cry over it. But the Ravens in the postseason around this time, or with the team that they have, Yeah, I know, because the Ravens are red hot right now. They arguably have the MVP right now, Lamar Jackson, just having another great season. Harbaugh leading the charge, right? You know, Derrick Henry, King Henry, he is, but a win tomorrow night would at least clinch the 5th seed, meaning they would go to Houston instead. Pick your poison, Houston or Baltimore. Either is a interesting matchup to me. It's a playoff game and a chance for Tomlin and company to get our first playoff victory in years. Regardless who we could potentially go up against in the postseason, I just want to see this team go out, whether it's at home or on the road, and be the best team possible. Well, it starts tomorrow night, man. It starts tomorrow night versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers have lost 3 straight, unfortunately, and they need to get some momentum back. They need to get a win, and they need to find some momentum before heading into the playoffs, because if they go into the playoffs losing 4 straight and most likely being on the road, very likely being on the road since their chances of winning the division are very slim tomorrow, I mean, that's just not a good look heading into the postseason. It's not. In fact, that's the worst road you could lead yourself down, and they're already halfway down the free lane. Yeah. It's just not a good way to go. So the Steelers need to find a way to get a victory tomorrow versus the Bengals. They need to get some momentum heading into the postseason, especially since they will be on the road. Any way that they can find themselves back in the win column, any way that they can boost the morale or the confidence or anything in the locker room is a good thing, especially since this game will most likely be the home finale for the Steelers this season versus the Bengals, a hot Bengals team. We'll discuss it, man. The last time these guys fought was probably one of the more exciting Steelers versus Bengals games we've seen. I believe it was definitely the highest scoring Steelers versus Bengals matchup we've seen. It was just an intense battle. It was just back and forth action, just fun football. It was one of the few games, probably the only game this year that the Steelers offense, played all 60 minutes. Yeah, they looked their very best last time they faced against Cincinnati. It was just a shootout between the two offenses, right? You know, and the defense came up big with some crucial turnovers and some crucial stops later into the game, especially in that second half where they just limited Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So we're going to need basically a repeat of that. The offense is going to have to match up the same energy like the Bengals offense has, but the offense has been quite a problem lately. It is, and quite frankly, I'm going to ask you and I'm going to ask the chat. Feel free to get you guys' opinions in here. Do you trust the Steelers defense? Now? No. I'm just going to flat out and be honest with you. No. I'm a little restrained from that statement. I don't find myself trusting the defense, especially that secondary. Yeah. JPJ will be back in this one, which is good. But at the same time, is he blowing the world up right now? Is he lockdown? No, not in any stretch of the word. But we're going to need him, and he's going to be back. So we're going to need the defense to have a big game in this one. But we'll discuss all that. We'll discuss the matchups and everything to look forward to, plus the seeding possibilities for the Steelers, what the Bengals need to get into the playoffs, all that sort of stuff, all that good stuff. So we'll get into it. But first of all, Happy New Year, guys. This is our first stream of 2025. So good to see you guys in another year. Yes, sir. We want to thank you guys for an awesome 2024. We appreciate you guys, as always, every week, especially for this very rocky season, which is having a more of a bumpy end, but we'll see how it really ends in the next coming weeks. But thank you guys for an awesome 2024. We hope you guys had an amazing 2024. You guys achieved as much success or grabbed as many of your goals as you guys would try or as you guys would want to achieve. Mm-hmm. And 2025, man, I know it's cliche, but it's a new year, and it's another year for me. The way I look at it, it's another year to achieve extra success and grab more of your future goals in life or anything in terms of just success or, you know, whether it's work, whether it's personal, whether it's ambitions. It's another great year to achieve that. And it just started, so great way to hit 2025. So Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you guys for joining us for another great year, man. So we appreciate y'all. There is a poll in the chat. How many turnovers does the defense force? Now, the last time these two fought, the Steelers defense gave up a lot of points and yards, but they forced 3 crucial turnovers. 3. So the poll in the chat is, do they force 0, 1, 2, or 3 turnovers? Does the defense force those turnovers? How many of you guys think that the defense could force versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals? Let's know in the chat, in the poll in the chat there. So appreciate you guys as always, man. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this live stream for another year as we come to the conclusion of the 2024 regular season. Already, bro. It's already week 18. Unbelievable. We're going to have the playoffs in a week from now. How about that? But you see the money lines, man. You see the spread. You see the over-under. The Steelers in their house are actually 1-point underdogs. Now, the lines are pretty close. The over-under or the total is 48, which is pretty fair seeing what the last matchup was. And I would hope we get something similar because we're going to need the offense to do so. Oh, yeah, of course, without a doubt. But the Steelers are the underdog, man. The Bengals are the favorite, and it's easy to see why because the Bengals are on fire. The Steelers are kind of in a collapse right now, and they need to find any way to prevent that and climb themselves back up that hill or that ditch they dug themselves in. So if you guys want to look at any of that, man, feel free to visit BetUS. You know, they have a prop builder here, which includes not only, you know, the money lines or the over-unders or the point totals and stuff like that. They even have over-unders in regards to player stats or touchdowns or passing yardage, rushing yardage, receiving yardage. So in regard to the Steelers versus Bengals, this is a good way to look at the receiving yardage because that's going to be very crucial. It's going to be very pass-heavy as this game with Chase Brown being hurt. And I don't know how much the Steelers are going to be able to rely on the run game. It's going to be all about the passing game. It's going to be all about the quarterbacks. You see Calvin Austin, his over-under is 30 and a half.
I think that's doable.
You think that's doable?
Yeah.
So we should take the over?
As long as he gets more snaps than Van Jefferson.
Right. What about George Pickens? His over-under is 67.5. He covered that the last time.
Yeah, he surely did. And he's I believe he's exactly 100 away from another 1,000-yard season.
Really?
If anything, yeah. I think he has exactly 900. So if he wants 1,000, you know, like, Russ is going to have to hit the moon balls to Pickens.
You are correct. Yeah, he only needs a Benjamin to get 1,000, man. And keep in mind, he missed the last 3 games. No, 4 games. Excuse me.
It was 4 games, yeah.
No, the 3 games prior to that. I'm sorry. Jamar Chase, over/under is 92.
Not hard to see why.
This guy's a beast, isn't he?
Unstoppable, man. Best receiver in the game.
I kind of want to refrain from that. T. Higgins, 77.5.
He is questionable. He was limited all week, but I mean, like, the injury he's dealing with, it doesn't appear to be affecting him by any means when it comes to game time.
I'm going to take the over for that, and I'm going to take this over as well. I think it's going to be a very offensive game. You put all 4 of those together, the odds are 1,300 to 1. Let's put 10 on it. We'll place it. If you guys want to tail this, feel free to visit betus.com. If you guys are looking for a new sports book this season for Week 18 and the playoffs coming up as well as any other sports during the offseason, take advantage of 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com, as well as 125% on your next 2 deposits when using that same promo code, and take advantage of those great perks from our friends over at BetUS. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring with us for another year as we conclude the 2024 regular season into the playoffs. Just please gamble responsibly. Now, let's get a look at the chat because I want to see the update on the poll. Most of you guys say 2. I think that's reasonable.
39% says 2.
And the reason I start with that is because I want to look at the defense first, because I think most of the problems for the Steelers in the past couple of weeks starts with the defense.
I mean, you look at the offense, it's like, yeah, they're inconsistent. They start off slow and whatnot, but you look at the last 3 games, the 3-game losing streak they're on. I mean, the defense has just not been able to do their job. I mean, the defense has not been able to make the stops, the crucial stops they need. They haven't really been able to take as many takeaways as they should,
right,
as they normally would, if you know what I mean. I mean, like, they've even had opportunities on special teams and on the defense, you know, with some fumbles, right? You know, they
against the Chiefs, against the Eagles, they had many opportunities and they couldn't pick the ball up.
No, they couldn't. Like, the defense, and plus the miscommunication issues, and, you know, Terrell Austin as a DC, you know, just not really scheming up a proper defensive game plan and utilizing his guys to the best of their ability and changing a couple things up here and there.
It's also the fact that the Steelers defense, yes, I know that they were hurt. You know, we were without JPJ for a couple games. Dante Jackson got hurt. We essentially had James Pierre.
Deshaun Elliott, he was hurt.
Deshaun Elliott was hurt. You're right. We essentially had James Pierre and Corey Trice as our primary guys starting outside. We also had Cam Sutton in the mix. He's been a huge topic of discussion.
We'll talk about Cam Sutton.
We will talk about Cam Sutton, man. he seems to be an issue on that defense, and a big issue in regards to the miscommunication issues and the blown coverages for guys like Andrews and Kelsey and so many other receivers that they have faced up against. It's something that they cannot repeat versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals because they're on fire right now. But I know they had injuries, but the defense, the past 3 games, 11 yards shy last week, but close enough. Essentially, the last 3 games, they've allowed over 400 yards of total offense.
If you just estimate it, let's just estimate it. It's 400 yards in 3 straight games.
And in those games, they've allowed 20 points of 27, 34, and 29 points respectively. The Bengals are the 5th highest scoring offense in the league right now, averaging 28.3 points per game. Look away, Falcons fans.
They're the number 1 passing attack.
Yes.
The passing offense. Just look at Burrow's numbers, dude.
He leads in passing yards. He's only, 360 yards away from 5,000?
Yes. He's got 42 passing touchdowns, bro.
He has 8 straight games of 3 touchdowns or more. 8 straight games.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase is a Triple Crown champ. He's going to be a Triple Crown champion this year.
Mm-hmm.
Most receptions, most receiving yards, most touchdowns. The guy's on a tear. T. Higgins, he missed, 5 games, but still has 10 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns the last 3 weeks.
So that's what, 11 games he's played altogether this season.
And he has 10 touchdowns. So almost a touchdown average a game.
That is just ridiculous.
And again, 5 the last 3 games, 3 last week.
Yeah, I know. He came up big against that Denver game. That was a great game, by the way.
That was an
Denver and
unbelievable
Bengals game.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, what was it? Last Saturday, actually. Yeah, last Saturday. I mean, it was just an impressive showing from both teams, really. But it was just, an enjoyable watch as an NFL fan. It went to overtime. But Higgins, man, he was the star of the show, that one.
Yeah, he was. Him and Burrow, I mean, it's just one of those things.
Just connecting, man. They have that chemistry. They have that connection. It's just something that, you put Chase in there. I'll even throw Mike Gesicki, right? Whether Higgins is playing or not playing, Gesicki's been that type of tight end that they acquired. That's just been that extra hand, that extra asset.
And I can't forget Yosivas, because he's that secret weapon that the Bengals like to incorporate and feed the ball to every now and then.
Yeah, Yosivas from Princeton. I liked him a lot coming out of Princeton. I thought he was a very talented player, and he's showcasing that as their primary number 3.
Yeah. So you see, the Bengals can spread the ball around. They got too many targets. Plus, Chase Brown, I know he got hurt when he slid at the 1-yard line, which hurt me personally for fantasy reasons. But regardless, Chase Brown, he went down at the 1-yard line and he got hurt. He looks to be good to go. They might get Khalil Herbert involved more, which he's a very quality back. He showed that when he was with Chicago and Fields years ago, and then Chicago just found no reason to use for him. So Bengals trade for him. He's a very good backup. I don't want to sleep on Herbert.
Yeah, I said it in the first preview, with the first matchup against the Bengals. Chase Brown, he has just been that type of guy that's filled in very nicely when they traded away Joe Mixon to Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chase Brown, I mean, you ask him whatever to do on that football field, he's going to do it. You need him to block, he'll block. You need him to run the ball, he'll run the ball. You need him to catch out the backfield, he'll catch out the backfield. Chase Brown is just a great football player.
Yeah, he's got that electricity to him as a football player where he's just so dependent on. He can do everything you ask him to. He's really stepped up in this opportunity. The thing with him, though, is he has been did not participate for all week.
All week, but he is questionable. Now, that could be that the Bengals are going to be cautious about his ankle injury, and they're going to want to see how he is when it comes to warm-ups and see if he will play. If not, they got Khalil Herbert, who I think is still a very talented running back. He was in Chicago, but that is something to note. Like, Chase Brown could not play in this game.
He, if anything, he'll be on the snap count or snap reducement. So I don't want to sleep on Herbert because
no, of course not.
I've followed him since his college days. I watched him in Chicago when he was a backup, and he himself can run the ball. He can get those chunk yards. He can get in the end zone,
catch out the backfield as well.
They will probably rely on him a lot. They trade for him for a reason, and I don't want to sleep on him whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just ask Justin Fields about Khalil Herbert.
Of course.
But in regard to that offense, you see what the Bengals are capable of. Obviously, the Bengals' biggest weakness is their defense, clearly. But their offense is their bread and butter. Their offense is why they are still alive in the playoffs. When the Steelers beat them in Week 13, I thought we sealed the deal. I thought, hey, the Steelers beat the Bengals. They ended their season. They ended all hope for the Bengals. No. Now, the Bengals have been on a tear. They have won 4 straight. Yeah. Despite the schedule, despite the talent that they went up against, I mean, they are playing like they should. That offense is playing like they should. I'll be honest with you, man. The tear that the Bengals are on, I hate to say it, they look playoff worthy. They almost deserve
That
to make
offense,
the playoffs.
that offense, without a doubt, is playoff worthy. Joe Burrow, the way that he's been playing, the offense, the way that they've been playing, that offense is absolutely playoff worthy. I really wouldn't say so much about the defense, but that offense of theirs has just been able to dig them out of this hole that they dug themselves into earlier in the season. Now they're digging themselves out because the offense is just that efficient, that consistent, that dominant.
Yeah.
They are hot and fired right now. And the Steelers defense, the way that they've been playing with their issues, it's a huge test for them.
It's a huge test, and thankfully the Steelers have had, 9 to 10 days to prepare for this, knowing who they had to go up against, and they had that little mini bye after playing on Christmas. They have all the time in the world to clean up on the massive mistakes that the defense has been allowing for weeks now. The miscommunication, the blown coverage, the big touchdowns, the big yardage, everything. They got healthier last week, and it didn't make a lick of a difference. This time around, they're just as healthy. They're getting JPJ back, but there are still concerns with the secondary, still concerns with the defense, especially when you look at the matchup against Joe Burrow. I don't know if I favor the defense in this one. Typically, I do. I favor a guy like Watt to get pressure on Burrow. I favor the defense to create turnovers. And in a way, you still think that because they did that in the last matchup. But at the same time, this Bengals team is different than what we saw a month ago.
Yeah.
They just feel different. They attack different. They win differently.
No, because just a month ago, they were a team that were still trying to fix their issues, trying to figure out, what's wrong with the season, what's wrong with the team. Since that last loss, they looked themselves in the mirror and said, the season's on the line right now. We're 4-8.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to lose another game. I said it straight up. They can't lose another game. They are fighting for their season. They still are. Look at them now. They are 8-8. They're one game away from getting a winning record and potentially making the postseason.
Well, they're also one loss away from ending the season.
That they are.
And who better to end the season than the Steelers? It's just sweet.
I want nothing more than for that to be the case.
That's sweet victory for the Steelers, man. That's sweet victory for us Steelers fans. I want nothing more tomorrow than that. I doubt we're going to win the division. I'm not even going to get my hopes up on that. But
yeah, I'm just saying the Browns got Bailey Zappi starting.
Yeah. Who was that? Their fourth quarterback this year?
Yeah.
Another Browns season in the books.
I'll say this right here, right now. All right, I'll say this. If the Browns somehow pull off a miracle with Bailey Zappi as starting quarterback, when it comes to the live reactions between the Steelers and the Bengals, I will wear my Steelers onesie pajama the whole stream.
Oh my God! Why would you say that?
No, I will.
So you're saying
that's how confident I am that Zappi leading the Browns will not pull off the upset.
So you're saying on live. Record,
right now.
If Bailey Zappi leads the Browns to an upset victory versus the Ravens and gives the Steelers a chance to win the AFC North, you're going to wear your PJs tomorrow night?
For the Steelers watch party? The whole stream, yes. I'll say it right here, right now.
You heard it here, folks.
Coincidentally, last time I wore it on stream with the Patriots last Thursday night last year when Zappi threw 3 touchdowns on our defense.
3 touchdowns in one half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I swear to God, we'll see. All
but
right?
It also feels like the defense is having some similar issues. By the way, shout out to you guys in the chat, man. I see Danielle in here. I see Digital Dust. I'm happy. No one. Jay's Life. What's up, Gio? Good seeing you, man. What's up, Ryan? Dylan, Joshua. Shout out to you guys in the chat, man. The thing is, that's the defense. There's some serious miscommunication issues, and I don't know if the Steelers are going to be able to fix them. But I think there's one way they can. You got to stop playing Cam Sutton.
If you're not
Please.
down with that,
Eddie T with a
we
$1.99.
got 2 words for you.
He says, doesn't matter if the Steelers win the AFC North. In a sense, yes, because they get home field advantage and they would face the Chargers at home.
They would be the number 3 seed.
But if you're saying in regards to like the playoff history and what the Steelers have done recently in the playoffs, maybe it doesn't matter because we've lost in the playoffs at our own house before, especially in
The
recent
last
years.
2 times we have lost.
Yeah.
The Jags and the Browns.
So does it really matter in a sense, like Eddie T is saying? Probably not, but I mean, that's still the ideal situation for the Steelers. Will it make a difference?
It hasn't recently. So
It hasn't, no.
So maybe not. I guess we'll see, right?
Right. But yeah, Cam Sutton is a huge issue.
Yeah. I mean,
Huge issue.
since he has come off of suspension, off the bye week, he has outsnapped Beanie Bishop. He has been the starting nickel corner since coming off the bye, and the defense has looked worse. with Cam Sutton.
It seems like all of these problems. Now, keep in mind, like the blown coverage or the messed up, coverage from JPJ or Dante Jackson or the yards allowed and stuff. That's been a constant ever since the Colts game when Flacco torched us. That's kind of been like a constant reminder from the defense for weeks now. But the thing is, the defense can force many turnovers. They are in fact one of the top in the league, if not the top in the league, at forcing turnovers. They are so good at it. No matter how many points or yards they allow, they can force the turnovers. But ever since Sutton came back, that's kind of that stat has taken a step back,
especially within the 3-game losing streak.
And the defense
it's just been so much more evident.
And the defense has looked worse for it.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Cam Sutton, once he came back into the defense, he has outsnapped Beanie Bishop the last 3 games. The last time Beanie Bishop outsnapped Cam Sutton was week 14 versus the Browns, where Beanie Bishop had 58 snaps compared to Sutton's 13 in that game.
And guess what? We won.
Ever since then, Sutton has outsnapped Beanie. Last week versus Kansas City, Sutton had 43 defensive snaps, which is 5th most of any defender on the team.
So top 5.
Beanie Bishop had 0.
A donut.
Which is the first time all season Beanie Bishop didn't see a single snap on the defense.
Now, I have to question Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin. Why? Beanie Bishop, he is not exactly lighting the league on fire. He's not really a consistent player, but you see the talent that Beanie Bishop brings to the table as a starting nickel corner.
Well, what you saw throughout the season was the progression he was making. There's not much you can expect from an undrafted rookie that was dotted in as the starting nickel because Sutton got suspended. But what you can see is the progression he has made week by week by week. And the biggest game was against the Jets.
Yes.
He got 2 interceptions on A-Rod, and those interceptions were because of film study.
Yeah.
He communicated well with the defense. He knew his assignments. He made plays.
He read the quarterback size. He read A-Rod, and he was just right there, able to make the interception, make the big plays.
And he created plays and created turnovers for the defense via film study. Since Sutton has came in, he has just gone AWOL. He has done things on his own. He is not listening or following any of the communications from Minka or Patrick Queen or anyone signaling to him. And he's just doing things his own way. He looks lost out there.
Yeah.
And it's allowed to some of the biggest blown coverage we've seen all season.
So we saw for the Mark Andrews touchdown against Baltimore not too long ago, and we saw, how Travis Kelce was just constantly getting wide open and just scorched our secondary. Course, that defense. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, I'm not pointing fingers, but Cam Hayward did say this exact quote.
Yeah.
Cam said, when 10 guys do their job and 1 guy doesn't, we are screwed. Now, that could just be related to the defense as a whole. That could be related to, like, the defensive coordinator or just any formation of the defense, whatever, right? There's not really one particular guy. But when multiple players are saying it on the defense, like Queen, like Elliott, like Hayward, it kind of goes to show there's a certain somebody that's not helping the defense.
And keep in mind, Hayward saying it, Elliott saying it, Queen saying it. These guys are leaders of the defense, right? Yeah. These guys are leaders and staples of this defense. If they're saying it, then we got a freaking problem.
So I think in this game, and film study would show it, and Mike Tomlin, man, I mean, if he didn't blow a gasket in the film room to anyone in whatever, maybe Hard Knocks will show it, maybe not. I'm not sure. They got to make changes. They got to fix those issues because they can't be allowing something that blatant or that bad versus the Burrow and company.
No, they can't afford it. I'm telling you right now, they cannot afford it. They couldn't afford it against Baltimore. They couldn't afford it against Kansas City, but they still did because they refused to adjust. They refused to make any changes, and I don't understand why.
It's also miscommunication from the players, and it's also incompetence from Terrell Austin as a DC to adjust or to scheme up a defense where they can move players around, make plays. It's just he's being basic right now. So those two combined, they got to fix those issues.
And being basic allows other offenses, especially electric offenses like the Ravens and the Chiefs, to adjust and point out the mistakes that the Steelers are doing because they're not adjusting. So the offense that we're going up against is going to adjust, and then they're going to pick apart the secondary, and look what happened.
It's easy for quarterbacks like Mahomes or like Hurts or like Burrow see the defense and see what's going on and pick it apart and call audibles and just make plays at the line.
Yeah. Because the defense is basic. The defense is just basically predictable when they're out there.
Yeah.
Austin, the way that he has just schemed up his defense, his game plan, and just how he's using the talent is basic. It's stale. It's not exciting. They're just out there.
I just don't know why a guy like Cam Sutton is out-snapping Beanie. I know
Why? Because he's the veteran, because he's been here before, because he knows Tomlin, because he knows Austin, because he knows the defense. That doesn't seem to be back in his case one bit at all. Because Beanie Bishop is an undrafted rookie free agent. The guy's been making plays earlier in the season when he was the starting nickel cornerback. The guy's just riddled with uber talent, and he's just a talented individual. I don't know why you're having Cam Sutton, who has just made 0 plays, 0 impact, looking like a fool out there, and not having Beanie Bishop out there. 0 snaps Beanie Bishop had against Kansas City. Why? Because you're worried that an undrafted rookie free agent is not going to look good against Pat Mahomes? No, I'm getting that dude out there. I'm getting him out there and seeing what he can do against a guy like Patrick Mahomes rather than a veteran that hasn't done jack.
Right.
Not at all this season. And I don't know if Sutton is doing this on purpose. I highly doubt he is.
No.
I highly doubt he is. He's just looking like a fool and he's just making these mistakes. And this is Cam Sutton we're talking about, a man that was cut by the Lions due to his issues off the field. And Tomlin was the one guy and the only guy, I'm sure, that contacted him and made sure how he was doing mentally and physically and how he was.
Tomlin and Khan met with him in Pittsburgh during draft week.
And Tomlin's the one coach that gave him a shot, a second chance to bring him back here. And this is the level of play that Cam Sutton is bringing.
Mm-hmm.
This is how he repays Mike Tomlin with his play.
It makes me think, he has experience with the scheme, with the system, with the coaches, all that. He's the more experienced guy. I get that. But sometimes you got to put that aside and put the best players in position to make plays for your football team.
That goes for any position.
Any position or any player on the team. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care what you've done. We're going to put the best guy out there to make plays so we have the best football team at our disposal. Beanie Bishop gives the defense the best chance at that slot.
Yes.
He's not blowing the world away. There's not much you can expect. But was he doing his job? Was he communicating? Was he making plays off film study? Yes.
Was he getting better game by game? I'd say he was, yes. The guy learns. The guy wants to be good. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder, man.
So I don't want to put it all on Sutton because that's just not fair. But when you look at the film, you look at what the defense has allowed, Sutton sticks out badly.
I mean, how many times do you see a secondary guy point to another person? And most notably, when you look at the All-22 film, you see them pointing at Sutton or signaling around Sutton, right? And then Sutton's not doing his assignment. How many times have you seen that the past number of weeks where the defense has to point? This is week 17, going on to week 18, the last week of the NFL regular season. This is a week 1, week 2 problem. We're having these problems right here, and we're talking about how they got to fix it. This is before the postseason, man.
I know.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a mess of the defense. Again, it's not just on Sutton. That's not fair, but that's the defensive scheming. That's the defensive coaching at the same time. That's got to get fixed as well. That needs to be cleaned up. They had time. They're running out of time now, but they had a mini bye to work on that. So how are they going to work on that? Have they worked on that? Were they going to improve from those mistakes? We will find out tomorrow night.
No, I surely hope so.
Now, at the same time, I'm still not holding my breath. We're going to get the best defense in the world or the best defense in the league.
The highest paid defense in the league.
You're just not slowing down Burrow and chasing Higgins at this stage right now. So I do expect the defense to give up some plays and allow some scores. But I would hope that the turnovers or the pressure we can get to Burrow is back. I hope that we can make that a constant thing throughout the game to give the offense chance to get points on the board or to take the game, very much like the last matchup. The Bengals got on the board first because of a pick six. Shouldn't have been a pick six, but it was. Then the Steelers responded. Then the Bengals will respond with a touchdown. Then the Steelers scored with a touchdown. And it just kept going and going and going until the defense forced a fumble or a turnover, and then the offense got points on the board. They took the lead, and the Bengals never got the lead back.
Nope.
So if we can get something like that back, if the defense can make plays like that to give the offense the ball back and for us to take the game, then they're doing their job.
Yeah.
That's all I can ask for is them to make plays like they've made all season. But the last 3 weeks, That is taking a step back. We need to take a step forward back into that rhythm.
Yeah, for whatever reason, whether it's coaching, players, miscommunication, injuries at that, though, I don't really put a lot of it on injuries because I see other defenses riddled with injuries. For example, Detroit, and then that defense is just still credible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just no matter what the case is, the defense needs to be on their A game. They have to be on their A game. No doubt about it. I know it's a lot easier said than done going against a hot-fired Burrow-led offense, the way that the offense is going for Cincinnati right now. They have to be on their A game. And I'm sure that they know that. This is a big test, and all the problems that they're dealing with, they got to find a way to clean it up ASAP.
Not just that, but they're facing. This is a different Bengals team than what we saw in Week 13, than what we saw a month ago. This is a lot different than what we saw. This is a different Bengals team now. They have something to fight for. They have everything to fight for, as a matter of fact. Like, their season is on the line here. So they're going to bring their best game possible. They're going to bring everything that they can. This is a different team. So the Steelers got to come into this game thinking, feeling, acting different. Acting better than what we saw the last 3 weeks. That is for sure. What they have to do.
You're not down with that.
The key man.
We've got 2 words for
With a
you.
$5 super chat.
He says, if Burrow gets 359 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, he will have 5,000 passing yards and 45 passing touchdowns, which will be 5th in NFL history. So you're saying he'll be the 5th person to do that in NFL history?
I believe that's exactly what he's saying.
Wow, that's an amazing stat.
If that's the case, and if Cincinnati makes the postseason, I think you could make an argument that Burrow should be MVP.
I would agree. Now, listen, I'm all for Barkley. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
2,000 yards. You don't see this now.
No,
Like,
no, you don't.
I know the last rusher that we saw run for 2,000, 2K was Derrick Henry not too long ago. But this isn't a common thing in a passing league. Saquon is tearing the world, is just tearing the league up. And seeing his impact for the Eagles and how much better they are compared to where they were a year ago, it's unbelievable. That's what most valuable player means to me. But obviously, most valuable player might as well just be the best quarterback in the league award because that's all it goes to now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think Lamar's going to win it. I'm just going to throw it out there. Though you could really make a valid argument that Burrow should get it.
I would 100% argue right now, if the Bengals make the playoffs, Burrow should get it. The tear that Burrow has been on is, I'm going to say, man, I hate to say it as a Steelers fan, but I respect Burrow's game. It's almost legendary. Like, yeah, are they coming back from behind? Does he have to keep up with the scores because their defense sucks? Yes, but
That's just a testament on just how much Joe Burrow is as a talent. You know, the pressure that is constantly on his shoulders. I mean, he's able to live up to it. He's able to handle it, zero issues. Zero miedo, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The guy's unbelievable. And the Steelers are going to be going up against this guy. He's coming off 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns each in his last 8 games.
8 straight games, dude.
I mean, unbelievable stuff.
I don't know how the defense is going to be able to stop it or slow it down at that. They just got to find a way.
They got to get to Burrow. That's number one. You can't you can't allow Burrow to sit back there and wreck that secondary that is getting JPJ back, but he's still sus. Dante Jackson is questionable. He could be back. If not, I think Corey Trice would start, which is very exciting, but he's also a 7th-round pick from last year that is just coming off of IR just a couple weeks ago. He's fully healthy, but he has a tough task going up against Higgins and Chase. His size is going to match up well against them, but how is he going to be in coverage? It's a huge test. I'm excited to see it, but it's also not ideal.
No.
So you can't allow Burrow to sit back there and just shred the secondary or pick apart the defense. You got to get him on his ass. You got to get him dirty. You got to get him on the turf. You got to get Watt bear hugging his ass. You got to get Highsmith getting him on the ground. Hayward, a bunch of them. I would incorporate a lot of blitz packages. Don't give Burrow time. Give him as little time as possible. Attack that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to do. You got to get to Burrow. And I think the turnovers will come. One of the turnovers we got off of Burrow was a strip sack from TJ in the last game. We need to get to that again.
Yep.
One of the things I will give the defense credit for is every time they go up against Burrow, they typically get a turnover or 2. We are going to need that very importantly for this game. Any way that they can do it, get it done. But it starts up front. At the same time, though, transitioning to the offense, I'm going into this game the exact same way I went into Week 13. The offense is going to have to win this game.
They got to match the energy. They got to match the type of level that the Bengals have. But the offense, man, the offense has just, they haven't been hitting on all cylinders. And I think that starts with the slow starts that they continuously are dealing with.
Yeah.
It's been the common theme for this offense is the slow starts. And lately, you look at the last 3 games, that has come back to bite them badly.
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons why the Steelers are on a 3-game losing streak is because the offense starts too slow and the defense lets up too early. Steelers got to play catch up, then they panic, force turnovers, the game's over.
Yeah, and you talk about the turnovers about that. I mean, the Steelers' offense, the last 4 games, right? Because earlier in the season, they were very good at protecting the football. Like, they were fabulous at protecting the football and not giving the ball up and whatnot,
And that's what Fields, that's with Russ. They were very careful.
Yeah, very careful. They're very good at protecting the ball. But the last 4 games, the Steelers' offense has turned over the ball 6 times.
And that's the Najee fumble. That's a Cordell Patterson fumble. That is a Pat Freiermuth fumble.
That's a Russell Wilson fumble. That's a Russell Wilson interception.
And another Russell Wilson interception.
Yeah, and how many of those were taken back for touchdowns? Or were responded for touchdowns, I should say.
Did you say like 4 of them? 4 of those turnovers were taken back for touchdowns?
I believe they
by
were,
the
weren't
opposing
they?
team.
Yeah, it was the Pat fumble. It was Russell Wilson, both interceptions. The Russ fumble. Then the Najee. That's about 5. 5 of the 6, if I counted correctly. 5 of the 6 turnovers
that the Steelers coughed up were returned for touchdowns by the
were
opposing
responded
team.
by touchdowns, yes. That is inexcusable.
They got to protect the ball.
And when it comes to the Bengals defense, I still don't think it's all that great, though they do have talent all over. I will say this about the Bengals defense. Within their 4-game win streak, they have actually accumulated 12 takeaways.
The Bengals defense,
Yes,
really?
Which I believe the last 4 games ranks number 1 in the NFL. Believe it or not. 12 takeaways in 4 games.
Shows you a testament of how different the Bengals are than what we faced them last time.
Yeah.
The Steelers got to be very protective with the football. Russ has to be very protective of the football. They got to make plays down the field. They got Pickens back for a 2nd straight game. He's ready to go. Him and Russ should be cooking it down deep, right? Calvin Austin had a touchdown against the Bengals last time. We got to get Pat Freiermuth involved more. Get Jaylen Warren involved more. He's the biggest playmaker in the ground game for you. He's been for the past couple of weeks. Najee's kind of taking a step back a little bit. He's still productive in some cases, but Warren is just that explosive factor. He's that guy that's going to get you up the field in any way possible. You got to play Jaylen Warren. You got to feed him the ball.
Yeah, he's a lead. He's a lead driver. He's the guy in the driver's seat that is just getting them down the field. I love Najee. I still feel Najee and Warren complement each other very well. But Warren is the guy that's just been able to get him down more efficient.
Agreed. And
So-
Eddie T, yes, I agree. I'm glad the game is on Saturday.
Yes.
Just want to point that out there. I'm glad it's a Saturday night game. I think it's exciting.
Makes it much more better, yeah.
It's just, I'd rather Saturday than Sunday so I can enjoy my Sunday.
Yeah, I get that.
Stress free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I also say this, this Bengals, them fighting for their season. It is a little bit reminiscent of the Steelers last year when they were fighting for their season, fighting for a winning record in a playoff spot.
I see it.
The only difference is, they're more, their offense is more legit, more consistent, more, capable and whatnot.
Oh, by the Milky Way universe.
Yeah, and then, they have to wait till Sunday to see what happens. That is if Cincinnati wins. So the similarities are kind of there, so to speak.
Yeah, just with a much better offense.
Yeah.
I wish we had an offense like the Bengals. But like you said.
One day, bro.
Maybe.
Right?
I don't know. With Arthur Smith, I don't know. Lord knows what the quarterback situation is going to look like last year or next year.
Yeah, it's been a topic.
But right now, we're finishing the season with Russ. Justin Fields should be healthy for this game. I would incorporate a ton of packages for him. Get him the ball. If you want to chuck it down the field with him, he's capable. He can connect with Pickens down deep. He can connect with Calvin Austin down deep. Incorporate him in a way where it's going to keep the Bengals guessing. It's going to keep the offense unpredictable, and it's going to get us down the field, and maybe, in a sense, keep the Bengals offense off the field.
Yep.
Control time of possession. Control the clock. The way to do that is to feed Warren, feed Najee, but more so Warren. Just very, very methodical. Almost in a similar game plan as they went with the last Steelers versus Bengals matchup. Just just playing a lot more focused, a lot more safe with the football, and tons of execution.
Yep.
From coaching, they got to use the proper personnel. I know we want to preach about Mike Williams, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
No, neither am I.
But
I mean,
I would hope more targets are called upon for Pickens because we're gonna have to rely on him a lot.
Yeah.
Get him the chance for 1,000. Get him the chance to make plays down deep. You know he can. He's always had good games against the Bengals, so let him cook. Calvin Austin's been very reliable. I'd love to see him get involved more. Same thing with all the tight ends, or the top two really. Russ, he's got to be protected with the football.
And he's got to be more consistent at that as a player. I would say recently he hasn't been as consistent. He's been making mistakes. He's been making head-scratching throws and decisions, which led to turnovers, which led to them coughing up the football. You know, I believe 3 of the 6 have actually been from Russell Wilson the last 4 games.
The fumble and the 2 interceptions.
Indeed.
So Russ has to be much better. I think he understands that. He's a veteran. He knows how to bounce back from this. Russ is a winner. I still trust Russ in that sense. The thing is with Russ, I think he's going to have to advance it just a little more this week because it appears to me he's kind of trying to rely on the same old week in and week out. He tries the moon balls. He tries the deep passes, and he just relies on that. Now that he has Pickens back, he's really going to rely on that again. And believe me, I understand why. It's a big success, and you trust those two making plays down deep together. It's been a huge reason why the Steelers are in the position they are right now. It's been a big reason why the offense is better than last year. But I feel like Russ is depending on it a little too much. And in that sense, I feel like the defenses are starting to figure him out just a little bit.
Yeah, so what you're saying is he's being a little bit too forceful about the moon balls and whatnot.
Not just that, I think he needs to mix it up a little bit. You know, more middle of the field, you know, just be methodical, you know, just get more targets involved, you know, just open it up a little bit with his arm.
Yeah.
Rather than just, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but in a sense, you know, he's really relying on that too much.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, Russ, he's got to be a little more open in this game. He's got to be a lot more safe with the football. But as a veteran, as a future Hall of Famer, I trust Russ to do what he has to do. You know,
I believe Russ understands that. I'm sure he does.
His success in the league, you should always trust a guy like Russ.
Yeah.
I know lately he's kind of cost us big time for sure, but I still trust Russ to bounce back. In a game like this, he's no stranger to it. So as a veteran, as the quarterback for the Steelers, I trust him to do what he has to do. The O-line has to play better. The Bengals are going to be without Sam Hubbard, and the last time the Steelers faced the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson was a non-factor.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, the offensive line probably had their best performance against Cincinnati last time. And you mentioned Hendrickson. I believe he's still a NFL leader in sacks and whatnot. And they only limited him to 1 tackle. So they did a great job of preventing Hendrickson from getting to Russ and just him being, you know, a factor last time. He was a non-factor last time. But this go around, the offensive line, they're going to have to go out there and play in a similar manner than they did last time.
Yeah, Broderick and Dan Moore didn't have their best cases last week versus the Chiefs. They didn't have their best outings.
And the offensive line in general, you know, like they're very hot and cold. Like there's a couple games where they'll look very good, very promising. Then the very next stretch of games, they'll just be like very off, allowing a lot of pressure, just getting beat by the pass rush and these defensive lines and whatnot, the front 7.
Mm-hmm.
This offensive line, they have to protect better. They have to make sure the pressure doesn't get to Russ. They got to make sure that they do proper pass protection. As a matter of fact, last 4 games, you know, I mentioned the turnovers Steelers offense have done. The last 4 games, the O-line has given up 11 sacks.
The last 4 games.
Yes.
So averaging almost 3 sacks allowed a game.
Yeah. And last week against Kansas City, or last game, 5 of them were from Kansas City. And they didn't have Chris Jones, by the way.
They didn't, no. And although the Bengals won't have Sam Hubbard, who's opposite Trey Hendrickson, they still got Miles Murphy. They still got so many other guys that can rotate. The Bengals have always been deep in the defensive line, so don't underestimate their depth whatsoever. O-line has to keep Russ clean. They got to allow Russ to do what he's got to do, and they got to create open lanes for the ground game. If they're going to try to control the clock, if they're going to try to be methodical, if they're going to try to keep the Bengals offense off the field, and hopefully that accumulates to some points, it starts with the O-line. It starts with the O-line. It really starts with Russ, and then everyone else has to execute. Everyone else has to make plays. It begins with Pickens, yes. Pickens,
I expect him to have a big game in this one. His name is going to be called on a lot. I expect Russ to give him tons of targets. If he doesn't, I'm going to completely question the coaching and the reasoning why Pickens isn't getting involved. You have him back. Use him.
Yep.
Please use him. Calvin Austin, I want to see more targets for him. Frymuth. This guy needs to get involved more.
Yeah, there's no reason for Muth to not be involved a lot more than he should.
As a matter of fact, isn't what's his name? Isn't Skoranek healthy for this one?
Yeah, he has no injury.
No
diagnosis.
injury doesn't.
No, so he's back.
I would try to get him involved. Maybe we utilize him a lot more as a blocker in terms of the run game, or maybe as a potential receiving threat. I like what I've seen from Skoranek in the limited time.
No, because I remember, I think it was that Ravens game, if I remember correctly. There was one drive where he caught 2 crucial passes, and I think both of them were for first downs and whatnot. I think that led to a scoring drive as well. So Skoranek, he's been one of the small bright spots as mainly a blocker, but like he's been a very handy receiver when given it the time, when given the routes and whatnot. So
Right.
I'd be more than open to see Skoranek involved.
Yeah, I honestly think that he needs to get involved more, and maybe not get too many targets, because he's not a receiver first guy. He's always about, I want to be the best blocker possible. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he wants to be the best at something. I'll tell you what, he's the best damn blocking wide receiver we have on the team,
So
without a doubt.
get him involved.
Just get him on that field. Any way that he's on the field, like he's just a productive player. He just gives it his all 100%, 110% at the time.
I've always said less Van Jefferson, more Skoranek. Less Connor Hayward, more Skoranek. A much better blocker than those two combined.
I'm all for that.
It's a way for the yak ability. It's a way for the run game to find some success. Let's get him involved.
It's just all about using your best personnel.
Yeah. Use the best guys to your ability in terms of formation or scheme or plays you draw up.
Or execution, like whoever's the best at something on whatever play you're calling up, get that guy out there. Simple as that.
Yeah.
It's not really that hard to think about.
I agree. So the offense as a whole, man, I said it the last game. I'm going to say it again this time. They're going to have to win us this game. The offense is going to have to win the Steelers this game versus the Bengals. They're going to have to match the Bengals' energy. The Bengals are going to bring everything. They're going to bring the fight. They're going to bring tons of explosiveness. The Steelers' offense has to match it. Last time they did, and I was very proud of them. I was incredibly proud of what the Steelers did. They played a full 60 minutes. They got points off turnovers. They got points in every quarter that game. They're going to have to replicate that, but they're going to have to be a lot more safe with the football. They're going to have to control the clock a little more.
And they got to start fast, bro.
Yes.
No question about it.
Because if they start slow and the defense lets up, listen, I don't want to say it's going to be like a repeat of what we saw the last 3 games, but it sure is leading down that path again.
Yeah.
That can't be the case.
No.
That
You
can't
can't
be the
afford
case.
it. You can't afford it. The offense has to go out there. They have to protect the football first and foremost, but at the same time, they have to start fast. I don't want to see none of this run, pass, none of these tosses early on, none of these 3 and outs, only, 2 yards in the first quarter. I want to see none of that.
No.
Because that is just inexcusable. When is week 18, at a time where the offense needs to start fast and showcase the potential,
If you're not down with that,
Eddie
we
T
got 2 words for
with
you.
a $4.99.
He says people can't beg to give Pickens the ball. Will lose that way. Had to spread the ball. Pickens can't run routes good on 50-50 balls. Can't win that way. I see what you're saying. You don't want to just force feed the ball to one guy and be that only reliable threat. I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is he needs more targets. Don't rely on him a lot. Don't rely on him solely. You're right. Spread the ball, which is why I want to see more of the receivers get the opportunities. I feel like there's certain guys on the team that aren't getting more opportunities, or guys that have received opportunities and they've stepped up, like Calvin Austin, like Muth, like Mike Williams, right? Let's get those guys involved.
And early on at that, again, week 18, we're having these slow starts. That should be an early season problem. We're having these problems early on, like with the defense with the miscommunication. Early season problems, we're having them this late into the season before the playoffs.
Yeah.
We cannot be having that. All these are inexcusable. For a team that has double-digit wins, that is playoff bound, should not be having these issues.
Dude, the highest amount of points the Steelers have scored the last 3 games was 17. They scored 44, a season high, and the highest we've seen from the Steelers in a long time versus the Bengals last time. Now, granted, that was
38 if you include or 37 from the offense and another 7 from a Peyton Wilson return touchdown. But
Right.
still, my point stands. 17 points is your highest point total for the last 3 games. That's got to be fixed. The offense has to start faster. Otherwise, it's going to go down that same rabbit hole, and I don't want it to go that way, because once that starts, I don't know if the Steelers can play catch up. Can they? Have they shown the capabilities of doing so? They've done that all season. But the past couple of weeks, they've panicked, they've made mistakes, and frankly, for the most part, they've gotten blown out because of it.
Yeah, lately,
All 3 of their losses have been by 2 or more scores. That is not playoff football.
No.
That is not a team that is worthy of the playoffs. That's not a team that you take seriously heading into the playoffs. Thankfully, the Steelers have 10 days to improve from this. Will they? Time will tell. We'll see tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm going to get my hopes up. I'm definitely not going to get my hopes up. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. The 10-day rest is exactly what they needed. They got healthier, and they know where they got to improve. You know, the Steelers, here's the thing. The Steelers are a good team. It's not like they suck. It's not like they're the worst team in the league. They're not. Not by any chance. They're a good team. They're good to get into the playoffs, but once they get close or once they get there, they aren't good enough. And what they've shown the last 3 weeks is they aren't good enough to be considered worthy as a threat heading into the playoffs.
No.
Well, change my mind. You had 10
That's
days.
what they need to do.
You had 10 days to improve. You had 10 days to clean this up. This is the perfect time to do it. It's first the Bengals. It's in a playoff implication high game on Saturday night in your house. You know, essentially prime time. It's versus a divisional rival. This is the perfect game for you guys to step up, stand out, and showcase, hey, we have cleaned up these mistakes. We can build some momentum heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's what the Steelers need, because the Bengals, you know, they're on a roll right now where the Steelers are rolling down the hill. They need to find a way to climb back up that hill. They need to get back up to the top of the mountain some way or fashion. They got to find a way to do so. The Steelers team, they have to bounce back. They need to gain some momentum heading into the postseason. But after these last 3 games in which they've lost by 2 or more scores in bad fashion against great football teams, playoff teams at that, I mean, because I stated after the Chiefs game, the Chiefs recap on Christmas,
Yeah.
the way I felt last season, I now feel the same way. And in some cases, you know, just a little over a week after, I still feel the same case.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I hate that I do, because I believe that this team, with the talent that they possess, and even some of the coaches that they still possess, they have the capabilities to be great. Like Danny said, are they a good team? Yes. They have good talent, but do they have the capabilities to be great, to grab the brass ring, to go at a higher level? Abso-fucking-lutely. I believe that they do. For some reason, they just come to a hold, and then something is just preventing them from reaching that great status.
Whether it's coaching, whether it's complacency, whether it's player execution, whether it's just a combination of all 3 or any other variations or whatnot, the team's got to come be much better in this one.
They have to. They have no choice but to.
I'm asking them to give me some confidence back after these last 3 weeks.
I want nothing more than that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because, again, the way I felt last season, I now feel the same way. So in that case, it might just be a me thing, but I have pretty much conditioned myself to not get my hopes up.
You're not alone, because I'm the same way. Do I know that this team has the capabilities of being great? Yes. Do I think that this team has the capabilities of winning a playoff game or making a push for the playoffs? Yes, this team is a lot better than what they've shown the last 3 weeks. A lot better. And to give them some benefit, they were competitive up until mistakes. But those mistakes is exactly why you can't take them seriously.
No, because once
now.
these mistakes happen, they just can't find a way to bounce back.
No.
They can't find a way to continue to be resilient, and, you know, like, mistakes happen, you know, but we can come from behind with this, right? We can still fix stuff. No, they just go with the same game plan.
Not only that, but when it comes to a certain time or a certain deficit, they cowardly punt the ball away.
Yeah.
And essentially,
And they've done
give
that.
up.
And that's against great teams. It's like, if you're doing that against great teams, playoff teams at that, then why should we expect you to be
Right.
a serious contender at that?
But that's why I say they have this time, they have this extra or this mini bye, this extra time, And they got this week, which is no better week to improve than now. They give me that hope and that confidence that, hey, maybe y'all have improved and y'all can make things different for once. I'm not relying on that. I'm not getting my hopes up on that, but give me a little faith this time around.
No, seriously. Like
Otherwise,
I am sure that, Tomlin, Russ, and the crew, the team, right? Everybody. I'm sure that they know that. They know that they need to get momentum. They know that they have to play better. They know that they have to get their own head out of their own asses and just play competitive and consistent and convincing football at that.
right.
Going up against this Bengals team that is hot and fired right now, still fighting for this season, but, on the brick of making the postseason, they got to find a way to just knock them off their pedestal and just end their season, just kill it. Kill their season, end it, just like old school Steelers normally would.
Absolutely.
That's what they need to do. That's the mind process. That's the mentality they need to go into at home at Heinz Field.
That is what AFC North football is all about. At this stage of the season, that's exactly what every AFC North team wants to do to each other. But the Steelers, man, they were at the top for 6-7 weeks. Now they're not. They could be sitting at the top 24 hours from now, but that's relying on Billy Zappi to beat the Ravens.
And here we are again, how many seasons,
asking for help when we should have already clinched the division, right?
Like the Steelers had it right in the palm of their hands, and
They let it flop.
they let it go. They let it slip.
But now, just win this game and clinch the 5th seed and head into Houston. I'm not relying on the Browns pulling off the upset. I'm not relying on the Browns to do us a favor. You will not catch me ever asking or believing or having any faith in the Browns. Ever.
No.
I did that once.
And they failed.
In 2018.
They failed.
Here we are again. They failed. The only difference is now we are actually in the playoffs. Right? But I'm not doing that. I'm not trusting the Browns. Screw the Browns. I don't care who wins tomorrow. I really don't. If the Browns win, that's cool. It's not happening. I'm telling you right now, it's not happening. The Steelers' mission is you got to beat the Bengals, you got to end the Bengals, and you got to clinch the 5th seed. You got to clinch Houston. That is the goal. You can't go any farther if you get a win. If you win, you go to Houston. If you lose, you could still go to Houston. But the idea that the Chargers could beat the Raiders is incredibly possible. And then you run the risk of going into Baltimore. Any risk of going farther down into the seeding process is not good for the Steelers and still losing some momentum. You got to win. You got to clinch Houston. That's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal, the mission, the statement is beat Cincinnati and clinch Houston. If you are lucky enough to clinch the AFC North division, congratulations.
Yeah.
Y'all got lucky.
If you're not down with that, we
Still Lee with a 199. I have a sick feeling, Still Lee says. I have a sick feeling we'll make CJ look great.
Again? Won't be the first time. So do I. I know the Texans aren't looking hot right now, but that's exactly why I'm not feeling confident. The Steelers fell for it last year.
Yeah. I remember that game vividly, like going into it, I was like, man, I'm feeling confident. The Texans, they got a lot of talent, first year head coach, first year quarterback, but they're in a rebuilding phase, right? Nope. Now we got blown out. We got embarrassed. And that's when we were convinced that Tomlin, as long as he is still his head coach, will never win another Super Bowl as Steelers head coach.
And here he is again, at least so far, and I don't see any change yet. He's leading us down the same season all over again.
Yeah.
Despite having a different OC, a different quarterback, an improved team for sure from last year.
And it could all lead to the same outcome.
I hope not, but
despite whether it's Baltimore or Houston, if it all leads to the same outcome, one and done, blowout in the wild card, what are we doing here?
I know. And believe me, that's the fear, and at this point, that's the expectation. But that doesn't mean the Steelers can't go into this game and still win and clinch Houston. That's the goal. The Steelers, they got to improve. They got to be better. They got to get a win back. They got to find some momentum, and they got to clinch Houston. That is the goal. That is the mission tomorrow night. At home. Send Heinz Field, send Steelers Nation home happy, and let's get ready for the playoffs. But the Bengals are in our way. And what better team to finish the season against in the regular season, what better way to end the regular season and build some momentum than end the Bengals? That's just sweet victory to me. I want nothing more than that while clinching Houston. That's the mission tomorrow. We'll see if that actually happens. I don't know exactly who's going to win. I'm not getting my expectations too high. It's just whatever happens at this point of the season.
Basically.
At this point, I'm just ready for the playoffs. I am. But I would love to see the Steelers sweep the Bengals. I would love to see the Steelers sweep Cincinnati again. That's always a good time. Any year that they do it is hilarious to me. It makes me feel good about the Steelers. But again, this Bengals team's a lot different than what we saw last time, bro.
Yeah.
You can't be going in with the same game plan and underestimating them. No, the Bengals will be playing with everything on the line, like their lives depend on it. Like it's the last day on earth for them. And they have everything to prove to everybody. Bengals are coming in to make a statement, to keep the hope alive for Sunday. Let's not give them the opportunity. Let's not give them that hope. Let's not let them get it to Sunday. Just end it tomorrow. Just end it tomorrow, man. The Steelers, they got to be better. The defense got to get the Burrow. They got to get them dirty. Force turnovers. You definitely got to win the turnover battle. The offense has to start faster. They got to get points on the board. They got to match what the Bengals do. They did that last time. They got to do it even more in this one. They got to do it a lot stronger in this one.
They got one goal, one mission, man.
Hopefully that's the case, man. And I saw in the chat, there's a poll in the chat, by the way. How many points do you think the Steelers score? 10 plus, 20 plus, or 30 plus? I don't know if they score 30, so I think 20 is reasonable. And 56% of you guys would agree. And I saw in the chat, Donnie Lund says, I know this doesn't relate to the Steelers, but this has been on my mind as of late. Do you think Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland? Yes. Yes. He said...
How long ago was it that he said that? Was it, 2-3 weeks ago?
Now, he didn't physically say he wants out of Cleveland.
No, well, of course, he's not going to outwardly say, yeah, I'm done with the Browns.
All he said was...
He's not like A-Rod.
All he said was he wants the Browns to have a successful plan in motion because he's not trying to waste his prime years on a rebuild. He wants the team to focus. He wants the Browns' focus this offseason to lead them to success, lead them to a push, which is never going to happen. But basically what Myles Garrett is saying is he doesn't want to waste his prime years on a rebuild. Essentially, he doesn't want to be like Joe Thomas, having a Hall of Fame career for nothing. Myles Garrett wants to win. Myles Garrett wants success. Myles Garrett wants to make a playoff push.
Yeah, and in today's day and age of the NFL, when you have players like that with that much talent, they're going to want to go out of their the location and the team that drafted them, and they're going to want to go out there and get a ring to add to their resume.
Sure. But the thing is with Myles Garrett is not to break your heart, not to be the bearer of bad news, Myles, that's not going to happen in Cleveland. So...
No, I mean, like, they just made extra room in the cap. They restructured Deshaun Watson's guarantees. They restructured his contract. So Watson's still going to be going into the season as the starting quarterback for at least the next 2 years.
They're trapped with him.
Unless they have a backup plan. What that is, I don't know. They could sign a guy. They could draft a guy. I don't know what the Browns do, but the Browns are still in trouble because the Browns are the Browns.
Yeah, and I'm happy in the chat says the Browns are 20-point underdogs. 20-point underdogs.
Yeah, it's not hard to see why, dude.
That's insane, bro. 20 points.
Let me say this. Are they better off with Zappy in at quarterback than Thompson Robinson? Yes, because Thompson Robinson is pure ass.
He's garbage.
He's terrible.
He's garbage.
He is not good. He only has one passing touchdown on his resume.
Does he?
Let me check it up right now. I could have
it?
sworn that's the case. Hold on.
That's it?
Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Looking at it. 1 out of 10.
Yeah, it's awful.
Who did he throw that to?
I don't know. You're going to be digging down the deep hole to look for that. That's awful.
First career touchdown to Harrison Bryant. He's not even with the team. Wow.
Well, I read a stat or a tweet rather from Adam Schefter earlier. Let's see if I can find it. Give me a minute.
Schefter tweeted, what about?
He said something about the Browns being underdogs. Pretty much he said that the Browns are essentially 20-point underdogs. During their 0-16 season, their highest underdog point spread was 13.5.
Wow.
So the fact that they are 20-point underdogs is unbelievable. I don't know what the highest underdog margin is of all time, but I mean 20 is just comical.
Well, you look at the path and the momentum that the Ravens have, right? Just what they're going on about, right? They've won 3 straight games.
If you're not down with that,
God.
we've got 2 words
Eddie T with a
for
199.
you.
Y'all say he's ass, but did beat this team last year. That's because Kenny Pickett kept spitting, bro.
Who, Bailey's that? Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Oh, him. Oh, wait, that happened?
Yeah. Yeah, when Kenny spin it?
Oh, that's right. That
Yeah.
was the game he did
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can blame Kenny Pickett and the offense for not getting points on the fucking board. That's why.
Kenny kept spinning. That was his spin cycle.
What was the score for that game?
Oh, it was definitely low scoring. Definitely low scoring.
Here, hold on, I'll get. Wasn't it like 10 something? I know the defense didn't allow many
There was
points.
like, hold on, maybe 2 touchdowns total in that game, 1 by each team. It was not good.
It was 13-10.
Yeah.
So you're telling me the defense allows only 13 points and they still lose?
Yeah.
Don't
That's
forget-
that's how bad.
Let's not forget that Kenny Pickett throw to John Cena, man.
Oh man, how could I forget?
Which, by the way,
And nobody's there.
but let me say this, man. Kenny Pickett looked good versus the Cowboys. Granted, it's the Cowboys, but the Cowboys also beat us, so I can't really say that. Kenny looked good.
He looked composed. He looked good.
He
and
looked goofy, but
yeah, with the self sack he gave up. But no, Kenny looked better. He looked confident there, and his throws were actually on point. So I'll give Kenny that.
him and Devonta Smith he was throwing some dots down. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm happy for Kenny. I am. I've moved on, but I'm happy for him. He's where he wants to be. He's where he needs to be. We're a lot better off. He's a lot better off. Move on from there.
We got Payne Wilson out of it.
Good for him.
So
And we did get Peyton Wilson out of it. And, I mean, he's made plays all season. Shout out to Peyton Wilson.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Browns, they're 20-point underdogs.
yeah,
dude.
because as I was getting to, the Rams have won 3 straight. They won 3 games in the span of 10 days, and they outscored. They scored 30 points in each game.
The Ravens, yeah.
Yeah, and they just outscored them by 2 or more scores or whatnot. I think they tallied like over 110 points altogether within those 3 games. So it's not hard to see why that's the case. And the Ravens, I mean, they still got the division to fight for.
And they're not sitting their starters, dude.
They're not sitting Lamar. They're not sitting Henry. They're not sitting Zay. They're not sitting Andrews. They're not sitting anybody.
This is a perfect time for a ad cut, so appreciate that. Shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this live stream as we take a look at the Browns and Ravens. You see that, the points, but they are literally 20-point underdogs. So if you think the Browns lose by less than 20, take the point spread. I'm not confident in that. But look at the money line. Negative 2,500 to 1 odds, the Ravens?
Yeah.
So in perspective, you would have to place $2,500 on the Ravens money line to win $100. That is how blown away that is. The over-under is 41.5. The Ravens might get that alone.
Most likely, yeah.
The Browns aren't winning, dude. In fact, I'm going to go to the prop builder because I want to see what the stat lines are for that game. Let's look at rushing yards because this is going to be funny. Derrick Henry, rushing yards, over 91.5. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's go to receiving yards. Where is Zay Flowers at? Zay Flowers is at 59.5.
He had over 100 last time. That was when Jameis was starting for them. That's when the Browns pulled off the upset, but they're not doing it this time around. No.
You don't think so?
No. What was Zay Flowers?
Yeah, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers gets it. Yeah.
Okay.
He's their number 1, bro. He made the Pro Bowl, actually.
What about Mark Andrews? 33.5.
Yeah, I think he gets it.
You sure?
I think Lamar's going to actually put on a clinic. Yeah.
I actually feel more confident in him getting reception. His over under for receptions is 2.5. So he needs 3 to get the over.
Yeah.
think
if you want to do that, I mean, like, I don't see.
I'm gonna be a little more
I don't see
safe.
why.
Passing touchdowns for Lamar. What is it? I think he gets 2. And we're gonna go touchdown here. We're gonna go touchdown. Derrick Henry, right?
Yep.
We're gonna add that.
That's an easy one.
We're gonna combine that all into a parlay. Plus 750. I mean, it's not crazy. 10 wins you 700. I wish. 10 wins you $75, but that's why we're gonna put 25 on it. 25 wins, 212.50. I'm gonna place this. If you guys want to tell us, feel free to do so at BetUS. If you guys are looking for a new sportsbook this season, huge shout out them for sponsoring with us for another season, man. When you go up to sign up at BetUS.com, take advantage of the 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, up to $2,000, and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today. Not only do you get that promo code, you also get the fastest payouts in the industry, fast and easy deposit withdrawal process, live wagering on all major games, which includes all the Week 18 matchups, and personalized service 24/7. So huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring with us for Week 18. Just please gamble responsibly. And yes, Eddie T, yes, Kenny did have better targets. He had 2 unbelievable targets.
I wish we had targets like that.
We had Pickens. He had Pickens. Pickens had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, he did. Those were 3 different quarterbacks.
Can't really say Deontay.
And he was healthy for basically the whole season.
Yeah, can't really say Deontay was like a Devonta. I wish.
No.
He's just not as explosive.
Nope.
And look where he's at now. He's in Houston. So it's crazy to see where the Steelers of last year were compared to this season.
You know, if we play Houston in the playoffs, imagine Deontay playing. You think he would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even play versus the Ravens.
No.
When he might play this week. Are the Texans resting their starters?
They already clinched the division in the playoff berth. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to play Stroud a lot.
So who's all going to bench their starters? The Bills,
yes.
the Chiefs. They've already confirmed that. The
Carson Wentz.
The Bills,
Chiefs,
Texans
for sure.
I know the Rams are sitting their starters,
Yeah,
right?
they're sitting Stafford, they're sitting Kyron Williams, a lot of those guys, yeah.
They're sitting Puka?
Checks.
I'm in the championship.
Stafford tweeted it. Double check for that.
I'm in the fantasy championship. I need to know if Puka is sitting or not. Oh, he is sitting. Shit.
Well, I mean, like, Sean McVay's not going to throw him out.
See, that's why I picked up Jordan Whittington.
Yeah.
I picked up Jordan Whittington on the waiver wire. Been a big fan.
Yeah, I picked up a lot of, like, backup running backs here. I picked up Blake Corum. I think he could have a decent game.
I picked up Corum. I picked up Puka. Not Puka. Whittington. I picked up Gainwell in one league. I know you picked up Gainwell in the work league.
Yep.
So
I picked up Michael Carter, too, just to have him because Connor's on IR.
that's a good one.
So he might have a game. I'm not sure.
Well, he's going to have to since both their running backs are out. So
Yeah, indeed.
and they face who? They face. I believe they face the Cardinals. They face San Francisco. Who's starting Josh Dobbs? Shout out to my boy Dobbs, man.
Yeah.
I've always loved Dobbs. Ever since his Tennessee days, I've always been a big fan of Dobbs.
By the way, crazy stat last week. Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, and Josh Dobbs all scored at least a touchdown. Ain't that weird?
Yeah,
Ain't that wild?
I think that's pretty incredible.
All last week, in some way or fashion.
I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I think that's pretty cool, man. Let's see. How's the chat looking? Browns might be motivated by that spread. Miles say he wants to spoil their division title. He's gonna have to do it by himself. Is he gonna play quarterback too? Is he gonna play running back too? Is he gonna play corner too? Like what's damn, he's just he's a man of many positions.
Is he part of the plan that he is hoping for the Browns to have for him?
Miles, bro, you're gonna need to go off. Cause you seems to be you're the only hope there, brother. See what Miles does, man. He's at 14 sacks. Watt is at 11.5. So take that with what you will, but I also look at the fact that Watt is the most chipped. He's the most double teamed, as well as being stationary. And
Yeah, can we stop doing that with Watt, by the way?
also dropping back in coverage. I'm just saying.
But as far as stationary, I want to talk about that real quick. As far as Watt being stationary, can we please stop doing that?
It's a scheme issue.
I understand that, but there's no reason why you can't move around Highsmith and Watt, or Highsmith and Herbig, or Herbig and Watt, right? Or incorporate those 3 guys in there in some way or fashion.
I agree. I think
Find a way to scheme up Watt to have more one-on-ones instead of being chipped all the time. Because that just leaves offenses and offensive lines, because they see that Watt is stationary. He's the only guy there, And that just gives them a better game plan and a better way to adjust and limit TJ Watt to the best of their ability. Rather, if you move TJ Watt around to have him in better one-on-one matchups or move him to the opposite side of the field, that just confuses the offensive line even more. That confuses the offense even more.
Well, it forces the offense to adjust rather than knowing where Watt's going to be every down. That's a Terrell Austin issue. That's a defensive coordinator issue.
It is.
I wish they would move him around because it would give him one-on-one matchups. It would give him open lanes to make the impact. There hasn't been many impact plays Watt has made this season, but I blame it on scheming. I blame it on coaching and where they're positioning him. It's not a favor to Watt.
No, it's not.
Teams know where he's at. Teams know what they have to do. Watt has still made plays because of it. Watt is still at double-digit sacks because of it. He's still the heavy favorite for Defensive Player of the Year because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's just a testament of Watt as a player, as an individual.
But moving him around is very ideal. Will they do it? I'm not expecting it.
No, because, I mean, like, they never do it. There was this one time earlier in the regular season, I can't remember which game, but I remember it was a sequence where they had back-to-back sacks. It was Watt and Highsmith with back-to-back sacks. But after the first sack, they swapped Highsmith and Watt of their natural positions, of their stationary positions. They swapped both of them, and that's how they were able to get consecutive sacks on that defensive drive.
I want to say that was against... Correct me if I'm wrong.
Was that the first Ravens game?
I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's a clip of it in one of our shorts. We'd have to dig back for it, but I know exactly the sequence you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, like, can we see more of that? Because they never do it.
No.
And right there, I was like, bro, let's see more of that. I think that would just make the defense that much less predictable. It would make it more unpredictable and more exciting.
Yeah.
It would just help out the defense even more because the offensive line, they'll be like, whoa, like we're not used to this. Like, they never do this. Like, what's going on? And that just makes the defense that much more efficient, more effective. If they were just able to add those sequences.
It would make the pass rush a lot better, a lot more fluent, a lot more consistent, because then it would force the offense to adjust based on positioning. So,
but the defense is just basic. Austin's just basic.
Yeah, it really is, man. Tarek Ammon in the chat says, Steelers Twins, what's up? We suck. Let's let it go until 2027. When Mike T walks away, we'll be back. Tell me how you really feel, man. I don't exactly disagree. Based on the, 7-8 years now? It's the same season all over again? Or same ending all over again? I hope that's not the case this year, but it looks like that's going down that path. So I understand your frustration.
Yeah.
I understand your frustration. John Peveril in the chat says, we're toast. Get ready for a one and done. If we finish 7th, we play the Bills in Buffalo. That's impossible. We can't fall down to the 7th.
No.
That's impossible. The Bills, for that to happen, the Bills would have to lose their last 2 games, and they already beat the Patriots last week.
Yeah, the Jets are not pulling off the upset.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, there's a chance we could face Buffalo in Buffalo, but the Steelers would have to actually win a playoff game. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't have that confidence yet.
Now, that confidence, man, that's got to be built back up.
But in one and done, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's my expectation right now. Digital Dust says, feels like we'll be going to Baltimore as the 6th seed. Yes. That's what I think, too. And for that to happen, in case you guys don't know, for that to happen, the Steelers would have to lose to the Bengals, and the Chargers would have to beat the Raiders. Very, very, very likely. If that's the case, we get a 3rd matchup against Baltimore. You won't hear me whimper. You won't hear me cry. But facing Baltimore in the playoffs, do we want that fight? Do we want that energy?
I mean, why wouldn't we at the same time?
Why do you say that?
Because when it comes to the postseason, we're looking at, what's the better odds? What's the better matchup? What's a more favorable matchup for the Steelers just to get a playoff win?
Well, probably an AFC North matchup.
Yeah. Well, people will argue that it's Houston because of, how depleted and injury plagued that they are and just how CJ Stroud has been playing, right? But honestly, when it comes to the playoffs, you want to play the best of the best to prove that you are the best. That's what the playoffs are about. You know what I mean?
Sure, but one, I don't know if the Steelers can match up with them, but also...
No, listen, I agree.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
All I'm saying is when it comes to the playoffs, you want to prove to yourself, whether you're a wild card or if you're coming up first round bye, you want to prove to the entire NFL. You are the best of the best. You want to play the best. You want to beat the best.
Well, that's what the playoffs is. It's the best 7 teams.
Yeah, but we're going into the playoffs talking about what's the better matchup for the Steelers just to advance. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the best matchup would be the best matchup to face for the Steelers to prove that they're the best is to face the Ravens.
Because they are the better team.
Yeah,
That's what
they're
you're
the better team. Yeah, since they're the better team, the Steelers are should go into that matchup looking to dethrone the better team to showcase, hey, we are legitimate.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
I agree. What I'm going to say here is, who would I feel more confident about the Steelers facing? You know, I'm gonna make that the next poll in the chat. Who do you guys feel more confident about facing in the postseason? I'm not gonna put the Chargers in this poll because it's not happening. We're not winning the division, and that's not some reverse psychology. That's just my own personal feelings.
Right.
Who would you rather want the Steelers to face?
You type too quick. I'm just saying.
Is that a problem?
Sometimes because you misspell shit.
Ravens or Texans? Get you guys' polls in the chat. Who would you guys much rather the Steelers face in the playoffs? Because it's going to be either one of these two teams. It's not going to be the Chargers. The Browns aren't winning. I don't even know if we win tomorrow. It's either the Chargers. Oh, sorry, not Chargers. It's either the Texans or the Ravens. Who would you guys much rather face? The Texans is definitely the most favorable matchup because the Texans aren't as threatening. They're not. And the Ravens are very hot right now. They're firing on all cylinders. Lamar's probably going to win MVP. If it's not Burrow, if it's not Saquon, if it's not Josh Allen, it's probably going to be Lamar. So I don't know if they want that fight. Do they want to face that type of energy in M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore in the playoffs where the Ravens play hot football? I don't think so. But I will say this about the Steelers, man. I think if you look at these two teams and how they look at each team and their mental approach and how they game plan against these two teams, I think the Steelers think and approach differently against the Ravens than they would the Texans. I think they would. What I'm trying to say is they look at the Ravens a lot differently than they do the Texans in terms of like just the rivalry aspect. It's AFC North football. They know the history. It's like they have their mindset a lot more focused against the Ravens than they would the Texans. That's
Right.
what I think. Just based on the rivalry, and I just think that's how they approach those games naturally. They think about the Ravens. They game plan against the Ravens a lot differently than they would the Texans. But the Texans would be the more favorable matchup because, again, the Texans, they have an awful line. They only have one realistic receiver. Stroud turned the ball over. Their defense isn't really hot right now. But at the same time, the Steelers fell for all of that last year. Are they going to fall for that again? Would they get out coached by D'Amico Ryan and Bobby Slowick again? I wouldn't put it past the Steelers. So mentally, the way they game plan, they would probably do better or go up against better versus the Ravens. But do you want to face that in the playoffs?
But at the same time, would you rather looking at the teams right now, looking at the momentum that they have, right? You know, Ravens could clinch the division, Steelers could be, you know, second place and whatnot, right? I mean, would you want to face the Ravens and knock them off their pedestal and pull off the quote unquote upset rather than face a depleted Texans team just to say, hey, we want a playoff game?
I would 1,000% love to beat the Ravens in the
You know
playoffs.
what I'm saying? Like, would you rather face the Ravens, knock them off their pedestal, give them the bird, and beat them, and get the edge over them, go 2-1 against them in the postseason, rather than face the Texans just to advance to the divisional round, only to get blown out?
Potentially. Fearfully.
Yeah.
I want another Ravens versus Steelers game in the playoffs. The last time we got that, correct me if I'm wrong, the last time we got a Steelers versus Ravens game in the postseason was the 2014 season in the wild card. It was the 2014-15 season. The Ravens beat the Steelers in the wild card. That was the game Ben Tate started at running back because
I remember that game. Yep. I remember that game.
I believe that's the last time we saw Steelers versus Ravens in the playoffs. I want another Steelers versus Ravens game in the playoffs. It's a different feel. It's a different energy. And again, compared to the Texans, the Steelers think and approach and game plan differently against the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're a lot more focused just based on the rivalry aspect. I don't know if they would win. Do you really want that smoke? But I want the game. I want the fight. I want the matchup. I want the idea. I want the possibility of that. I want the chance for the Steelers to knock the Ravens off their pedestal.
Yeah.
I would love Steelers versus Ravens. It's probably not the most ideal situation. It's probably not the most ideal game. But, I mean, if we're going into this thinking we're going to go one and done, I'd rather face the fucking Ravens and have a better chance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in the end, that's always the fear, whether we face the Ravens or the Texans. The fear is we're going to get blown out and the wild card go one and done, right?
Or we're gonna underestimate them, seeing how depleted they are.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want to see, though. That is my anticipation, unfortunately, as a Steelers fan, seeing our resume recently in the postseason. But no, I'd rather face the Ravens. I'd rather face the Ravens and take them to the limit and possibly knock them off and end their season earlier than they anticipate, since they're probably led by the favorable MVP right now in Lamar Jackson. Knock them off early, get a convincing win, rather than a win against Houston, who are not in a good space right now, and then go into the division round and then get destroyed by Kansas City again?
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean,
I felt like being the Ravens with where they're at right now would just be a little bit more convincing into the postseason if the Steelers were to get a playoff win.
Well, maybe. Here's how I view it. Here's how I view it. I think the Steelers and the coaching are going to underestimate the Texans based on what they've been all season and what they're going through. I think they underestimate that. Versus the Ravens, they're a lot more focused. So perhaps against the Ravens, it'll be a much more better matchup, knowing the rivalry and the nature of those games. Plus, it's a playoff atmosphere. What more could you ask for in the playoffs? A game like that, I'm taking that all day. But is the better matchup against the Texans? Yes. Favorably, yes. But the fear is they might underestimate. That's where I'm at. But all I know is it's going to be either the Ravens or Texans. 62% of you guys say you would much rather the Texans face the Steelers. That's probably that's probably the least likely outcome, because I'm not exactly expecting a win tomorrow. But if they win, they will get the Texans. 100%. They clinched that. That's all we know.
Yeah.
What I know is if the Steelers win tomorrow, we know for a fact we're facing the Texans. If the Steelers lose tomorrow, there's a chance we still face the Texans. But we would have to wait to see if the Chargers beat the Raiders. And if they do that with the Steelers' loss, we face Baltimore. So pretty much if we win tomorrow, we know for a fact we're facing Houston. If the Ravens don't lose to the Browns, which again isn't happening.
Yeah.
If the Steelers lose tomorrow, I would 100% bank on a third Steelers versus Ravens game. So pretty much win-loss tomorrow, we kind of know where we're going. But at least tomorrow, if we win, we would know for a fact where we're going.
Yeah.
And the Steelers can have their focus straightforward. You know what I mean?
And if we win tomorrow, we go against Houston, I'll take it. I just hope that if that is the case, that's the outcome, they do not underestimate Houston because of the situation they're in. Injuries, Stroud's play, and whatnot, right? They can't underestimate that. They can't underestimate any team going to the postseason. You should not be doing that.
No.
Whatsoever.
Electric Visuals has an interesting thing in the chat. It says, forgive me for thinking about next year, but I really believe J.J. McCarthy would go number 1 in this draft class. Trade the first for him if he's available. I love J.J. There's actually multiple teams that will probably be calling for McCarthy for the Vikings, because it's possible the Vikings will retain Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and you just, I'm sure you've seen the Vikings on social media. It was after they won against Green Bay. Darnold was just being celebrated in the locker room and held up by his teammates. Yep. And there was a caption by the Vikings that said, "That's our quarterback." And just recently, I seen a video today, actually, of O'Connell communicating to Darnold on the sideline, telling him, what play to do or how to prepare for a drive. And he told Darnold, "I'm proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you." So that's
awesome.
that's every indication pointing that the Vikings may want to look at keeping Darnold based off what he has brought to the table. all that pressure on Darnold after McCarthy had to undergo season-ending surgery. That was not the plan, but Darnold, he has been able to just carry this team and just connect with his targets to Addison and Jefferson and be smart with the football, just handle all that pressure. I mean,
So
that is props to Sam Darnold.
So we're looking at another Geno Smith situation.
Maybe.
If I'm the Vikings, what I'm doing is I am signing Sam Darnold back. 2 years.
Minimum.
2-3 years minimum. An opt-out option in year 3. And I'm still going to bench McCarthy. He's only 21.
So you're saying have McCarthy still learn, recover, still learn, still develop, and
The Jordan Love situation.
get better.
You don't want to lock yourself into a contract with a quarterback based on one good year. Teams have done that. Teams have failed because of that. If I'm the Vikings, I re-sign Sam Darnold for 2-3 years. Yes, he's going to want a decent contract based on the quarterback market, but they can afford it. And I'd keep McCarthy on the bench. Jordan love him.
They could do
essentially.
that. They could do that.
That way, if Sam Darnold shits the bed, if he falls through, they have that first rounder that they invested in this past year.
Now, if they are offered a big haul, like a first, for example, for McCarthy, if a team is willing to take that risk, would Minnesota go for it? Would they accept the first?
For a first, yes. Yes.
Flat out, they'd accept it. They move on from their potential future for a first and go with Darnold and just hope for the best that Darnold does exactly what he did this year down the road for the future.
It's a return on their investment.
Right.
They spent a first on McCarthy and they could get a first back. If they get offered a first, yeah, they're going to do it.
Now, my question is, what team is willing to do that?
I don't know.
What team would be willing to take the risk to do that?
I don't know. I wouldn't. Not a first.
Is it the Raiders? Would it be the Browns?
No.
Would it be? I don't
The
know. man.
Raiders, maybe. The Raiders, maybe.
Would it be the Giants? Would
I could see
Would it be?
The Colts?
Could be the Colts.
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to give up on Richardson.
Yeah, because Schefter reported that, there could be teams inquiring the Vikings about his availability.
They will. They will for sure.
So that's going to be one of those things early on to really keep a key eye on.
But I would definitely anticipate the Raiders and the Giants to be calling. For sure. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm not trading a first because we need that first for a corner or potentially a receiver. Badly.
Yeah.
Badly. Lord knows we need them. We need those picks. Just putting it out there. Raiders might sign Justin Fields as starter. I would much rather the Steelers keep him.
Yes.
That's for offseason, but that's just where I'm at going into the offseason. I won't go into further because that's for the offseason, but I'd much rather keep Justin Fields. That's all I'm going to say for now.
I don't disagree.
Sebastian Sanchez says, my Ravens going to win it all this year. I'll be real with you. If it wasn't last year. And I said last year, if it wasn't last year, it's never going to be with Harbaugh and Lamar because last year was your best chance. This year, man, I mean, y'all have a serious chance again. It's like y'all got Henry. Your defense is downgraded, but, the offense can more than make up for it.
I mean, this is it. This is really it. I mean, this is essentially their second chance. Because last year, they finally made it to the AFC Championship game with Lamar Jackson. That was his first time there.
How many MVPs is Lamar going to win? He's probably going to win another one.
His second straight and his third of his career.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
For a running back at quarterback, not really. He's turned into a very good quarterback. I mean, look at his stats. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, just insane. He's got the best touchdown to interception ratio throughout the NFL.
Yeah, and the player elevation. Look at Bateman.
Zay Flowers, just look what he has brought to the table for Lamar as their number one.
By the way, Zay Flowers shouldn't have made the play or the Pro Bowl. Zay Flowers is good. He shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl over Brian Thomas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know why.
Of course.
You know why.
Everyone looks at the Jags and laughs. Everyone looks at the Ravens and is convinced.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Brian Thomas should have made the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. Oh, speaking of Pro Bowl, the Steelers have 4 Pro Bowlers this year. 4. And it is exactly who you think it is. I don't need to tell you, but it is TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, and Chris Boswell. TJ deserved. Hayward deserved. Boswell deserved. Minka.
This is his 2nd straight year going to the Pro Bowl where it kind of leaves your head scratching. Leaves you scratching your head. I'll say this. Minka last year never should have made it. I think he only made it because of his notoriety.
Yeah.
You could probably make that same argument this year, right? Minka, he hasn't exactly been the splash defensive player. He has been making these splash turnovers and whatnot. He has only accumulated 1 turnover within 2 seasons so far.
Well,
With still 1 game left this season.
right, but I also look at how he has prevented a lot of the deep ball and where he's been making
That level of impact, yes, you can't forget about it.
But yeah, he hasn't made the turnovers as he used to, and that's probably because the teams, the quarterbacks refuse to throw the ball towards his way, or when Minka is in single coverage, he isn't the best coverage guy. He's gotten blown up by tight ends. I wouldn't say Minka has had a complete down year, but has he fallen off a little bit? Maybe a little.
Now,
I don't think he should have made the Pro Bowl.
Now, when it comes to free safety in the AFC, who exactly else could have made it off the top of your head? Is there anybody else that you can think? Because if not, I mean, Minka basically just takes the cake.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, right? Because I'll tell you, Jesse Bates leaving Cincinnati to Atlanta from AFC to NFC, I mean, like, if Jesse Bates was still with Cincinnati, I mean, making the plays he's doing for Atlanta, he absolutely would have made the Pro Bowl over Minka. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah.
But now that Bates is now NFC, who else is really there to really take Minka to the limit for Pro Bowl status or for Pro Bowl consideration? Is there anybody?
Off the top of my head, no.
No, Kyle Hamilton's a strong safety.
And Kyle Hamilton did make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
It was Kyle Hamilton and Derwin James that's the strong safeties.
Yeah.
Does Justin Reed play free safety or strong? I'm pretty sure he's a strong safety.
Strong safety.
Okay.
He's always been strong safety.
Off the top of my head, dude, I can't think of anyone.
Yeah. So I think Minka is basically the only one with high notoriety in the AFC that could really take that sole free safety Pro Bowl consideration.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with that statement.
Despite his play or whatnot, I mean, like, is there anybody else?
Maybe the chat can help because I'm at a loss right now. Who else could have made it as a free safety in general? I guess they had to by default give it to Minka. So I guess so. It's just something they had to do. But yeah, Minka, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Chris Boswell all made the Pro Bowl this year. No surprise. Zach Frazier won Team Rookie of the Year. No surprise.
Well deserved.
If it wasn't Peyton Wilson, it was going to be Zach Frazier. What an addition he's been. What an improvement he's been.
My center, dude. And keep in mind, he may have not started day one if Nate Herbig never got hurt.
No.
Unfortunately, Herbig did get hurt, and I hope he's doing well in his recovery. But Zach Frazier has not skipped a beat.
No.
Couple snap issues early on, but with Russ in there, I mean, the guy's been perfect. And as a blocker, man, I mean, he is a full-blown wrestler out there. You cannot get past him.
No. He's just such a good fix at center, man. Much better than what we've seen in previous years.
Oh, much better. Night and day.
And team MVP for the Steelers for the 2024 season was voted by the players and given to TJ Watt, of course.
Without a doubt.
What is this? His 5th time winning it?
Yep.
Well deserved. I mean, without TJ, what is this team? Without Boz, what is this team? If there was anyone else that was going to win it, I would have given it to Boz or Hayward. Because Hayward's a leader, and Hayward is playing at an incredible level for his age.
Without a doubt.
So I would give it to those guys.
But TJ winning it, I'm not surprised one bit.
Yeah, electric. I agree. I really hope Troy Fatano pans out because passing on Quentin Mitchell and Brian Thomas going to give me nightmares. Looking back at it right now, yeah, it's kind of hurting because we need corner, and clearly we still need receiver. The thing is, the reason they drafted Fatano is because they had no one to start at right tackle. Looking at what they did with Broderick,
I mean, you probably could have went Brian Thomas because you need a receiver. You traded for Dante Jackson, so he could have been your cornerback too for this season like he was. So I didn't think they were going to draft corner that high.
Down with that,
But
we've got 2 words for
Barber
you.
FN, good to see you in the chat, man. Says with a 199. Good evening, guys.
Barber, what's up, bro?
Good evening to you too, man. But yeah, seeing what they did with Broderick, if I knew that in hindsight, yeah, they should have taken Brian Thomas.
But I could make the argument that Khan probably didn't envision Tomlin and Pat Meyer to use Broderick the way that they are. I think Omar envisioned Broderick to be the left tackle. He said he was drafted to be a left tackle. Eventually, he will play at left tackle. He has yet to do so. Next season, maybe, right? At this point, who knows?
Fingers crossed.
I envision because Fatah's going to be coming back from his injury.
I also think it's a lot of influence from Andy Weidel because he's all about building the trenches.
Yeah.
And I think Fatanu will pan out. He's such a good tackle. His injuries are a major concern, yes, but
No, I still like Fatano and his talent.
I think him at right tackle next year, that's going to be exciting to see what the trio of rookies and the O-line can do as a full year starting core next year. That's incredibly exciting. Frazier, McCormick, studs. Get Fatano out there. You know, him being off for a year at right tackle doesn't look promising. It doesn't look ideal since he's a year away from that position and he's still kind of fresh there in the new league, but I think he'll pan out. But yeah, passing on Mitchell and Thomas, and in retrospect, seeing where what the team is at and their utilization of everybody, looking back at it, yeah, it doesn't look good right now. But I do think he will pan out, and we'll see what the Steelers do at corner and receiver this year. But we know for a fact they got to improve the two.
Without a doubt.
I'm hoping a certain Bengal will be a Steelers receiver next year.
Yeah, maybe
If you catch my drift.
early glimpse.
If
Right.
you can tee with me, you know what I'm saying?
They've had many looks at T. Higgins going up against them. They could have a real
If
quick
you're
early
not
look
down with
tomorrow
that,
night.
We've got 2
Barber
words
FM with
for
the
you.
199. He
Says-
says, "Listen, I don't have much hope, but let's go Steelers."
Let's go Steelers, man. At the end of the day, that's all there is to it, man. That's all there is to it. Sandwave says, I truly think Minka and Broderick has been half-assing it because there is no competition in their position. I see why you say that. The effort isn't exactly always there with those two. I see what you mean. I don't know what exactly it is, but Broderick, he has his ups and downs. Minka, I still trust Minka. So, let's see. Shroom says, just like how y'all had trade remorse with Deontay Johnson. I didn't have no trade remorse with Deontay Johnson.
No. I have
Trader's remorse with Deontay Johnson is what he actually said.
no. I mean, there was not one point in the season where I said, "Man, I miss Deontay Johnson."
No. No.
You use Mike Williams, bro.
I wish. I
Simple.
think we all wish. Scotty Miller got snubbed?
You know, X concept. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Who doesn't
How
want to
they
see?
forget about my man Scotty too?
Who doesn't want to see Scotty Johati in the Pro Bowl games, huh? Him playing dodgeball and whatnot with his lightning fast speed.
Oh, I think what Shroom is talking about is the team itself is regretting trading Deontay, not us fans. I think that's what he's referring to. But
Oh, if that's the case,
then yeah, you're not wrong. I think the team definitely has some remorse of trading Deontay because yeah, they need receivers. I think they have really felt a massive hole because of that. They don't have anyone else. The wide receiver 2 position is just empty. Calvin has made plays, but is he a 2? No, he's like a 3. Roman Wilson hasn't played all year. His 21-day window is open. Same thing with Cole Holcomb and Logan Lee. I think that's great. Whether any of them come back this season is to be determined, but
yeah,
at least that possibility is open. Roman Wilson looks ready to me. He looks fast. He's coming out his breaks with explosiveness that you saw from Michigan.
you saw, before he got hurt in training camp.
I'm hoping he can play. I'm not banking on it, but I think rookie snaps are important. So anytime he can see some snaps and get a sense of the NFL speed is a good thing. But Roman Wilson, Calvin, I'm looking at them as the 3 next year, and we can go big at wide receiver 2. That is what I'm hoping the Steelers do this offseason.
Just load the wide receiver room.
Load up the core. Just stack it up.
That's what I'm hoping, man. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, I'd much rather go get Higgins or Godwin or trade for a receiver than draft one and go get cornerback early because I think that's just a better scenario, but we'll see what happens. I mean, that's for the offseason. It'll be here before we know it because we're already in 2025. In a month's time, the season will probably be over for the Steelers, and we'll be talking about what the Steelers need to do and what Najee's future is and what quarterback should they resign, what quarterback should they keep. It's all offseason talk.
Oh, yeah.
I have a list of topics all written down of what we can discuss for the offseason, but we got to get there first. I'm expecting it to be earlier than when we want it to, but hopefully that's not the case. We'll see what happens. The Steelers team, man, so it's just one of those things where you hold out hope.
If you're not down with that, we've got two
Barbara
words
FM.
for you.
Barbara FM with a 199 says, any thought of Caleb Downs?
I mean, is anyone coming out of Ohio State really a bad option? Being honest. But do we really need a safety? Elliott signed for another year. Elliott is great. Minka's not going anywhere.
No, Minka was extended, 2 years ago? So he's got another 2 years left?
Is Downs declaring for the draft? Has he declared for the draft yet?
I can check right now.
Oh, I guess he would declare this year, wouldn't he? Is this his,
I don't know if he's officially declared yet, but he may be looking to do so.
Isn't this year his sophomore year?
Freshman. No.
No,
No, that was
freshman.
last year. My bad.
Yeah. You know who I really want from Ohio State?
I know who you're talking about.
Egbuka.
Mm-hmm.
I want Egbuka.
I think a lot of us want him. Yeah.
If
He is
you're
such a
not
good
down
fit.
with that, we've got two words for you.
Barbara fan, he says, I thought Elliott was a 1 year. Whoops. No, he signed 2 years. Yeah, he's a 2 year guy.
Yeah, Elliott's been a great addition.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal.
I mean, I would love depth, so not gonna this completely
Yeah, because the
disregard
safety depth ain't good.
And let's be honest, at some point you do have to replace Minka. At some point, I don't know how much longer he stays, but at some point, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have some sort of backup plan. You know what I mean?
how much longer is Minka on contract?
I think it's 2 years, right?
Really?
Yeah, because 2 years ago, if I remember, 2 years ago we extended him. It was like what, a 4-year deal, something like that.
Yeah, it was 2022 we signed him a 4-year deal. So his contract comes up in 2026. So yeah, we got him 2 more years after this.
Yep.
I'm not really focused on safety, but I want Egbuka. Like if there's a receiver they're gonna draft, I would like Egbuka.
Digital Dust says, I don't think Khan will take wide receiver in round 1, but Ibuka would be my top choice.
Yes. He fits like a glove. I know everyone says, oh, he's a slot receiver. Watch his 2022 tape. He is not a slot receiver. I'm telling you right now.
No.
He went up against some of the best cornerbacks in the country and dominated.
Electro Visual says, don't be surprised. The Steelers want to be a powerhouse running team. If Ashton Jeanty is on the board, we taking him if he's there.
Let's not do that again. Listen, Genty's great. Genty's great.
Phenomenal. I'd argue he should have won the Heisman.
Yeah, arguably.
So I can't take anything away from Hunter.
Can we get away from being a run-first team, okay? This isn't the 1990s, okay? This isn't 1997 with Jerome Bettis.
No.
This isn't
We've got
1974.
two words for you.
Barbara Phil with a 199 says, hopping off here, got to go to bed. See you tomorrow night. Sounds good, Barbara.
Good to see you, man. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Who's the hottest NFL? What the hell? I'm not answering that question. That's an interesting... Benji. That's an interesting question. I mean, I'll let you guys put that up in the chat. But electric. I mean, listen, Ashton's great. And I don't think he's going to fall to the Steelers, but no, let's not
No,
do
I
that.
think he's a Cowboy. I think he's a Cowboy.
I think he's a Cowboy,
If
too.
you're not down with that, we've got two words for you.
Omar Sadly with a 2 says, you two look like legendary Steelers fan Mac Miller. Really?
That's a first.
That I have never heard that, but I appreciate that.
I mean, I appreciate that, Omar.
Being compared to the good looks of the legendary, rest in peace, Mac Miller.
Indeed.
That's a compliment, my boy. I
I'll
appreciate
take
that.
it. I mean, I appreciate it.
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace, Mac Miller, man. You know what? It's been what?
going on 7 years now soon.
Yeah, it's been geez.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Jeez.
It's unfortunate. But yeah, that's a first for me. I've actually had a couple weird comments this week in regards to my looks or my voice. Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know why. I appreciate it. No, I'm not dropping a freestyle. I ain't built like that.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I ain't built like that.
That's not happening.
I ain't built like that. I'm not gonna embarrass myself. My dream pick for the Steelers is Will Johnson or Mason Graham. Sometimes I wish we tank. Mike Tomlin has always said he don't want to lose many games to get a guy like Chase Young, so it's not gonna happen. There's always a trade-up option.
And Khan's done it.
But maybe the Steelers should entertain the idea of obtaining more picks for 2026. You know where the draft is in 2026, right?
Oh, I do.
You know a certain bloodline is coming into 2026, right?
Oh, I do. I do.
I'm just going to throw it out there 2 years in advance. Just saying. Just saying.
Uh-huh.
Just saying. But, no, I mean, the Steelers drafting running back, I'm not doing that in the first round again. No. I don't think Najee stays. I love Marion Hampton from North Carolina. Obviously, we saw in the Arizona State game versus Texas.
Cam
Scatterboo, bro. Listen, he's probably going to be a first rounder too. Him and Warren would be unbelievable.
Cam is a dog.
But how high would Omar draft a running back? How much does he value running backs?
I don't know.
That's to be determined. Najee is going to be his first example of that. Warren will be back. We know that. Najee, I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't think so. But we don't know how Omar Khan values running backs. Maybe him declining his 5th year is an example of how he values running backs. Where he drafts one, if he drafts one, I don't know. We're going to find out. It's all speculation at this point. But if they want to draft a running back, there's a couple names out there. Some of the names I mentioned will have to be earlier picks, but maybe they do that. Maybe they stay run heavy. With Arthur Smith being the OC, that's every indication that they are going to be run heavy.
Yeah, that appears to be the theme.
And you need 2 dogs. You need 2 explosive powerhouses to do that. You already got Warren. You might have Najee back. We'll find out in 4 months' time. Not even. 3 months' time. 2 months' time.
Yeah.
2.5 months' time. So, I don't know. But my focus on the draft right now is corner and receiver. So, there's a couple guys I like. But that's for mock draft season. That's obviously for the end of the season.
That's later this year. Later on this year. Down the road.
Sure is. Later on this year, which is it's actually not far away, man. Judkins, yeah, he's another one. Judkins would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So many names, man. So many names out there. Running backs actually stacked this year. It's unbelievable. There's so many guys that could be drafted so early that probably won't, but there's so many good running backs this year, which is why maybe they could let Najee walk and they could draft a guy. I don't hate that idea.
If they're that confident in getting a guy to replace him.
You get someone with less mileage, a lot younger, a lot cheaper, while still being an explosive piece of the offense. I love Najee. He can find success elsewhere. Sometimes you just got to move on. I would love to keep Najee. I would prefer to keep Najee.
Ultimately, that's what I would do. I would keep Najee and Warren. I feel like that their chemistry and the way that they complement each other is unmatched. They have just done so well together over the course of 2 years, 3 years.
If you can find a backup plan and execute it, go for it.
Yeah. I don't know. Crazy things have happened. We'll see.
One of my free agent hopeful is Milton Williams from the Eagles. He's ranked 2nd highest pass rush grade for defensive tackles, would be a difference maker. I do like Milton Williams. He stepped up a lot when Brandon Graham went down. I think he'd be very good. Would they go after defensive linemen? What's Ogunjobi's future? Could he be a cap casualty? I know they could save some cap for cutting him. I know they definitely 100% need some interior pass rush. They need some interior pushers.
Yeah.
All they got is Cam, Benton to an extent. There's not enough interior pressure. So we're gonna need any ability to get some pressure there.
Yeah, Milton, man, he's gonna get a contract. He's gonna get a lot of people to look at him.
For sure.
A lot of interest.
I will mention, there is an Andy Waddle connection there.
Yeah, I know.
Just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
He was in the front office the year they drafted him, which was 2021, I think.
Yeah. He didn't come till 2023?
Andy Waddle?
Yeah.
I believe so.
2023.
I believe so, yes. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Would love to see it. Maybe it's one of those positions you don't think they look at, but they really should. They really need to get younger there. And what better? So electric, I love that idea. 100%. That's another one of those wish lists. Benji says, I just looked up Brian Thomas stats versus Zay Flowers. You are both right that Brian Thomas should have made the Pro Bowl ahead of Zay. Yeah, 100%. Come on. 10 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean,
with
Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence.
with first round busts.
Yeah, basically.
Come on.
Thomas is great. We all knew he was going to be great.
Yeah. I don't know how he fell, but he did. Tube Dude 92 says, what's our quarterback plan? I don't know. But I think my what I would like to see is Justin Fields back.
I'd bring him back.
I'd bring him back. I would. Do you guys think Andy Waddle is the real GM? No, he's the assistant.
No, he's the first assistant GM for the Steelers ever.
And in that case, there's a possibility he could leave the front office. He might get a real GM job somewhere.
I will not be surprised.
He's gotten interviewed before. He'll probably get interviewed again. Hopefully not this year, because I think his input and his influence on the trenches is very important, which is why we went trenches heavy in the last 2 years, which is a good thing. I know we passed on some good players for it, but I'm going to give them the time and the patience to prove us right and prove that they were the right choices. You know, they took Broderick over Christian Gonzalez. They took Fatanu over Thomas and Quinion Mitchell. And in retrospect, it's not looking too good right now. But I'm going to give them the time and the patience because the trenches is very important.
Yeah.
And hopefully this year they can really strike on those two positions that they passed on, and then we can all be good and dandy and finding where we're at. See what happens. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because the draft classes the last 2 years have been good. The value's great. The potential's there. I'm going to give them all the trust in the world there. Where we at? How y'all feel about Drew Alar in 2026? Reminds me of Big Ben from Penn State.
Yeah.
He does look good. He's another guy that's going to go into that class, and he's definitely going to be a hot pick.
Yeah.
2026 got some mad quarterbacks coming out, man. Like I would give Fields the chance next year, seeing how he sat under Russ, which is exactly what he needed. Give him the chance, and if he doesn't pan out, guess what? 2026 has hella quarterbacks coming out. In Pittsburgh, by the way, I mean, what better year to draft your future than when the draft is hosted in Pittsburgh?
I mean, it kind of writes itself right there, but that's a big if at that.
Or if not, Fields pans out, perfect.
Then you're good, right? You're good.
Oh, by the way, the Steelers will officially only trade a 6th-round pick to Chicago, not a 4th, only a 6th.
Yep. So thank you, Chicago.
Even if he isn't here after this season, even if he isn't going to be resigned, even if he gets a starting job elsewhere, which, I mean, I wish all the best for Fields, it's still a success. A 6th-round pick where he was a quality starter and got a second chance and is going to better himself and got better coaching around him. Good for Fields and good for us.
Yeah. And he got us to 4-2, you know, when he had to step in when he wasn't really expecting to.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Tayway, Jeremiah Smith will be the number 1 pick. For a freshman, this guy is unbelievable. You know, Ohio State is wide receiver university because, I mean, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Egbuka coming up. How many other receivers? Michael Thomas years ago.
Yeah, if it's not LSU, that's wide receiver, wide receiver, you know, the university, whatnot. It's Ohio State.
It's Ohio State.
They just know how to breed wide receivers. It's insane.
Well, it's unbelievable that Jeremiah Smith as a freshman is already looking like he's probably going to be the best wide receiver to come out of Ohio State ever with what he's been doing.
Yeah, and people were saying that about Marvin Harrison.
This guy's 19 years old.
I know. What he did against Oregon, who were undefeated, by the way.
I know.
Were undefeated.
I know. Jeremiah Smith is a dog.
Yeah.
Even another freshman I want to shout out, Ryan Williams from what, Alabama?
Yep.
He's 18. No, 17.
17. He's not even an adult, bro. Not even a legal adult.
He can't even vote. He couldn't vote earlier in November, bro. I don't know what they're doing with these freshmen. There's a lot of great freshmen earlier this year, man.
Yep.
Do you think Arch Manning gets taken in 2026? He'll be drafted. Why the Steelers? I don't know. I hope
Maybe
so.
the Colts. Hey. Throwing that out there, all right?
No, the Giants.
No.
Did you see Drew Lock?
Yeah, I did.
Come on. They're going to go Drew Lock. Confirmed. They're going to go with Drew Lock. They're going to tank. They're going to get another Manning. Listen, I read the NFL script, okay? I'm not supposed to tell nobody, but that's what's going to happen. Drew Lock is going to be the quarterback for the Giants next year. They're going to tank, and they're going to draft Arch Manning. Listen, I didn't write it up. The script did.
You're telling me a man that had 5 touchdowns is going to tank next year?
Listen, there's not many quarterbacks that score 5 touchdowns in a game.
Drew Lock can put his name in that category. They found their success. It took a bit, but they found it, bro.
Unbelievable stuff, man.
He knocked the Colts out of the postseason.
Pickens on one side, Williams on the other would be nice to see. Yeah, that would take another 2-3 years, but yeah, that would be nice. That would be dangerous. Crazy stuff. I'm really focused on Egbuka, though. I mean, I don't want to sell completely on him because there's a lot of other receivers I like this draft class, but Egbuka is probably going to be at the top there. And the Steelers, they never missed the Ohio State Pro Day. Never. Should we still draft for O-line, says Tube Dude 92. Depth. Definitely depth. And Sayamalu is
I am getting tackle depth at that.
yeah. Swing depth. Swing tackle depth.
Yeah, you got to get tackle depth.
Or even if Broderick doesn't pan out, you got a left tackle. I think that's a solid idea. But they need some flexibility. So, I mean, it's all a matter of how they attack free agency.
Yeah, and, that's all-season talk.
Well,
All this is all-season talk.
No, what? Steel Twins performing halftime?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no.
Will there be a Steel Twins halftime heat for the Super Bowl? No. Wait, who's doing the halftime again?
I don't know. I don't care. I really don't. Do I have to search it up? Here, you do it.
Who's doing it again?
I don't know.
Kendrick Lamar?
Oh, good Lord.
Is that confirmed?
Sounds about right.
Kendrick Lamar. Cool. I will not be watching. Nothing against Kendrick Lamar. I don't care. I just don't care.
Just saying, respectfully, nothing will top J-Lo. And who was the other one? Shakira? Is that her name?
Huh?
What was the other artist? It was J-Lo, and who else was it?
Shakira.
Yeah, was that her? Yeah,
yes.
Respectfully. All right.
Well, listen, all I'm saying is low key. The NFL has picked some great halftime shows.
Last year's was actually pretty enjoyable, though.
It was.
I will say that.
It was.
Last year's was really enjoyable.
Kyron Lacey and Pickens next year. Tom are gonna have his hands full, dude. They would crash out before kickoff, bro. They'd be hilarious. There'd be so many. There's so many flags on the field, bro. It'd be unbelievable. I know it's a fantasy dream for a lot of people, but I don't know if we want all that.
Yeah.
Who would be the steal in this draft? I mean, couldn't tell you right now.
No, I would have to do
Some serious digging.
Yeah.
Some serious digging.
That's all, again, off-season discussion, research at that.
Yeah. In fact, let me end this poll. 71% of you guys say you guys would rather see the Steelers face off against the Texans. So that's all we know. It's either going to be the Ravens or Texans. No in between. Not the Chargers. We can't fall down to the 7th seed. It's either the Ravens or the Texans.
Yeah.
So I'll ask that question one more time for the chat. Who would you guys rather face? And what is your guys' score prediction for tomorrow's game? Who do you guys think wins? Who do you think wins? What's your prediction?
Well,
In fact, you know, let's
honestly-
go over the entire week 18. This
All
is
right.
the final week
All
of the
right.
season. We got the Cleveland Browns heading to Baltimore. Moving on. We got the Bengals at the Steelers.
honestly, I'm going Cincinnati.
Really?
You said score prediction?
Yes.
I don't know.
27-17 Steelers says Tube Dude. 27-24 Steelers says Donovan Grimes. No relation to Rick. John
Or
Park
Carl
says
at
don't
that.
care, gotta win regardless. I like that. Electric Village says 30-23 Bengals. Kyle Cash, that's an awesome name, says go Ravens. Digital Dust 31-23 says Bengals, unfortunately. Kyle Cash says 67-0 Ravens. You know what?
I hope Bailey Zappi.
I'm
ruins
taking
your-
y'all spread. I want you to know I'm taking y'all spread.
I hope Bailey Zappi ruins your freaking night. It's not happening. no.
Lady Gaga was legendary. I mean, the past 10 years, Lady Gaga has really, she's kind of like exploded into a new atmosphere. The whole acting thing and, you know, the halftime show and how she did the national anthem for Super Bowl 50 or whatnot. Like, she's really exploded onto the, she's always been a pop star, but I feel like her range is so far across now.
She's expanded, yeah.
Yeah. Bengals need to win. Well, we need it more.
Honestly, really, we need it more.
Selfishly, we need it more. What if the Browns beat the Ravens tomorrow? I will laugh. I will laugh.
I said it early. I'm gonna say it right here again.
Because keep in mind, guys, for those that don't know, we will be live for the Ravens versus Browns game. Yes, the AFC North War Room will be back for the Steelers versus Ravens tomorrow at 4:30, right before the Steelers versus Bengals game.
So we'll be doing both games. It's gonna be a full-blown AFC North night.
yes, it'll be the AFC North showdown is what we'll call it.
Yeah.
We will be live for the Ravens versus Browns tomorrow at 4:15-ish. And after that game, we will be live for the Steelers versus Bengals.
And I said it earlier. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna repeat myself. If Bailey Zappi can lead the Browns to an upset against the Ravens for the Steelers and Bengals live reaction, watch party, whatever, I will wear my Steelers onesie pajama for the whole stream. I said it.
Yeah.
I don't see myself doing it because I don't see Bailey Zappi doing it.
He totally wants to just wear it. He just wants any reason to wear it. He
No,
doesn't want to say it. He
no,
doesn't.
I don't.
He doesn't want to admit it.
No,
That's
I
why he
don't.
puts the worst possible ideas out there.
No. Dude, that's how confident I am the Browns won't do it.
Okay.
That's why I said it.
Okay. I'm gonna go Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati wins.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
They're too hot
unfortunately.
right now.
Yeah.
They're too hot right now. I hope I'm wrong, but they're too hot right now. We got the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. I believe the Falcons need to win, and they need the Bucs to lose to win the division, the NFC South, and make the playoffs. The Falcons are the only team in the hunt right now for the NFC, so they need to win, and they need the Bucs to lose. Who do you think wins this? Michael Penix. He's looked rough, but there's potential.
No, there is.
At the end of the game, he really started to strike. He threw a touchdown to Pitts.
Yeah, that was another enjoyable watch. That was a damn good Sunday Night Football game.
Great game. By the way, for fantasy purposes, who would you rather start, Burrow or Daniels tomorrow? I mean, Daniels.
Oh, are
is
you
a-
asking me or everybody
The
else?
chat. I am in the fantasy championship.
I am telling you. Well, listen, Washington already clinched a playoff berth. I don't see why they would play Jaden Daniels.
Is there a potential higher seeding?
No, Eagles got that division.
So they might play Mariota?
Probably. Or maybe they do get an earlier playoff seeding potentially. Do they?
I'd have to look at the.
I don't know. To answer your question, I'm starting Burrow. I'm being real.
Right now, I have Burrow in.
I'm going Burrow. Sorry.
Right now, I have Burrow in. I sat Burrow last week for Jaden Daniels, and I only missed out on 5 points, which still helped me win, but the margin's kind of close.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the guy I'm
No, but-
facing doesn't have Barkley tomorrow, but I also don't have Puka.
Yeah. So yeah, you
But I
have to deal
got
with that.
Gibbs, I got Laporta, I got Burrow, I got a lot more guys that are going to be playing and got a lot to play for.
Yep. Yeah, Sunday Night Football, we got Minnesota. Well, we're going to get to that, but yeah, Atlanta, Carolina, I go in Atlanta. I got Atlanta winning
Oh, so the Commanders could be battling with the Packers for the seed. So if the Commanders win, I believe they still get a higher seeding to Green Bay because they're fighting for 6 and 7 right now.
there. Right. Okay.
So the Commanders could still be fighting for a higher
They
seed.
could still play some of their shirt. They could.
Because if the Commanders win, the 6th seed, they're gonna go into LA, face the Rams. If not, then they're gonna go into Philadelphia.
Right. Okay.
So
We'll see what happens, but
you think Atlanta wins?
yeah, Atlanta.
Let's see. Washington at Dallas. Washington. Chicago at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Bay.
Chicago could put up a fight, but
Last game for Caleb Williams' rookie year.
Yeah.
I think it ends in a loss. Houston at Tennessee.
Houston, they're going to be sending some of their starters.
Will Levis will start.
Houston.
Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
They're fighting for integrity at this point. I'm going. Honestly, shoot, I don't know.
They both kind of suck.
Yeah. I mean, the Jags are worse, but they have a couple bright spots.
Last time these two fought,
the
Jags
Colts,
won.
I don't know. Like, the Colts are just very weird to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going Jacksonville. Upset of the week. Got to pick. Clock's running.
Indy.
Okay.
What clock?
The imaginary clock. Buffalo at New York or New England. Mitchell Trubisky will start. I think he will.
Just give it to Ray Davis. And was their backup, Ty Johnson? Just give it to them.
Yeah.
New England can't stop the run.
Trubisky starting, right?
Yes.
Thank God this game doesn't matter.
Yeah. Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah, I go Buffalo. New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Kenny Pickett will start. Kenneth Gainwell will start.
No, Kenny Pickett will not start.
Oh, that's right. He's hurt.
He's got broken ribs.
So McGee will start.
Tanner McGee will start.
Philly. Giants suck.
Giants are that bad.
New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they win the division and they win the 4th seed and the final spot in the NFC.
You know, surprisingly, I believe that the Saints can take them to the limit. I know. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be playing because I think
not.
he's still hurt.
He's not. He's out.
So
Spencer Rattler will.
you know, in some weird way, I can see the Saints actually taking them to the limit. I can see the defense stepping up a bit.
Well, keep in mind, last time these two fought, the Bucks beat them 51-27.
Yeah, I remember that game. Like, the first half was actually like back and forth, and then the second half, I mean, Saints didn't show up, but I don't know. No, but I got regardless, I got Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay makes the postseason.
Yeah, I think so too. Shout out to Baker. Kansas City, who's starting Carson Wentz at Denver.
You know what? I'm going Denver.
I'm going Denver.
I'm going Denver.
I'm going Denver, and I think Denver makes the playoffs, not the Bengals. Because the Bengals, they need to beat the Steelers. They need the Dolphins to lose to the Jets, and they need the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs. I don't think the Bengals make it. I'm going Denver makes the playoffs. Chargers at Raiders. Chargers. Seattle at LA. LA starting Jimmy Garoppolo. Seattle has nothing to fight for.
And this game doesn't matter. They already clinched the division. They can thank the Commanders for that. You know, give me Seattle.
Yeah, give me Seattle. Miami at New York. Miami.
This is going to be low scoring.
Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Jet, and hopefully ever.
And Devontae Adams did that too.
Yeah. San Francisco at Arizona. Josh Dobbs, I'm going for my boy. Let's go, Dobbs.
Yeah, let's go Arizona.
Josh Dobbs is low-key one of my favorite players. I don't know why.
If you're not down with that,
Joey Weaver.
we've got 2 words for you.
Because, I'm at work, chilling on a boat, laying down. That sounds
On
awesome.
a boat.
That sounds awesome. I wish.
Hopefully it's not cold where you're at, man.
It was cold over here, let me tell you.
Yeah, it is pretty cold. Yeah, it had some snow down here too.
Hope you're enjoying yourself, man. And last but not least, game of the year. Minnesota at Detroit. This is John Cena on The Rock. This is like The Rock in Austin, bro. This is like,
Where's Machine Gun Kelly at?
huh?
Yeah, because he sung the song.
Oh.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Invincible?
I guess.
Whatever, man. I'm going Detroit.
Yeah, if you're going to ask me who wins this game, is it going to be Goff or Darnold? Because it's going to come down to either one of those two. I'm going Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going Detroit.
Detroit wins the number 1 seed, and they get the bye. I think Detroit deserves it. I think they get it, especially at home. The energy is going to be crazy. This game is going to be intense. I can't wait for it. Rudolph is starting. Any thoughts? Rudolph? I don't think Rudolph's starting.
No. Will Levis is starting.
Why? I don't know. But yeah, Will Levis is starting. So no Rudolph.
Nope.
But my guy Dobbs is starting, so I'll take it. So it's cool. I'll probably watch that for personal reasons, but just to pass the time until we get to Sunday Night Football, because that's going to be a great game. But before that, we got Saturday Night Football. Tomorrow night, we got the Steelers and Bengals, man. Crazy game. It's going to be high intensity. Playoff implications for both teams. But in regards to the Steelers, a win secures Houston, at least. A loss potentially puts them in Baltimore. And it potentially gives the Bengals a chance and some hope for Sunday to get into the playoffs. I'd rather just end that possibility and end their hope, end their season tomorrow. I think that's just the perfect way to do it. I think that's the perfect way to end this regular season and to gain some momentum and build something into the playoff spot, the playoff game for after the Bengals game. I think the Steelers really need it. We got Steelers versus Bengals. You guys know we'll be live for it tomorrow. It's going to be a crazy game. I don't know exactly what to expect. I just hope for a victory no matter what. Win no matter what. I don't care how you do it. Just get a victory, clinch the number 5 seed, send the Bengals home, send Burrow home.
That's their one goal. That's their one mission. That's their one objective.
It's all on the defense to force turnovers, and it's all on the offense to start fast and get points on the board and match what the Bengals are going to be throwing at you, just like last time. Just be a lot more protective with the ball. Keep Russ clean.
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for
Joey
you.
Wheeler with a $9.99 says, if TJ has a 3-sack game, does he win Defensive Player of the Year? I work at a shipyard in Wisconsin. It's 10 degrees, but I'm inside. Steelers need to get their shit together, but I still want revenge against the Ratbirds. Get it in tomorrow. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But, yeah, thank God you're inside, because 10 degrees over there in Wisconsin. I mean,
Yeah, geez, I know that's freezing.
I know those Wisconsin boys are different. I mean, just Watt, Herbig, Benton,
yeah.
JJ. It speaks for itself. But yes, if he gets 3 sacks, that will put him close to number 1 in sacks. But I think either way, he could still win Defensive Player of the Year. I know, what's his name? Surtain is really reaching the high stakes for that.
Right.
But I think a 3-sack game tomorrow would definitely clinch or give him the heavy favorite for Defensive Player of the Year for sure. And we're going to need a big game for Watt. And Watt, he's going to be hungry tomorrow. He's going to be hungry for the rest of the season because he himself is fighting for a playoff victory. And any way he can help this team and a boost of morale or confidence or any momentum, TJ Watt is going to be at the forefront of that. So I'm hoping for a big game from Watt tomorrow. But yes, I would love some revenge on the Ratbirds. Even if we lose and the Chargers win a game versus the Ravens, I'm always going to take. I'm never going to say no to a Steelers versus Ravens game, especially if it's in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really love a win tomorrow.
Well, let's get it.
We got to get it tomorrow, man. Either way, we got an AFC North battle. Let's close out that. Let's close out that for the regular season. Let's get the dub tomorrow. That's what's most important. That's the main mission tomorrow. Win, end the Bengals. If not, I guess we'll see Baltimore. It's either the Texans or the Ravens. We will find out tomorrow. Because either way, you already know where it's going to go. So, with that being said, we'll see what happens tomorrow night. You guys know we'll be live for the game. It's going to be exciting. Before the Steelers versus Bengals, we will indeed be live for the AFC North War Room for the Browns and the Ravens. I'm not expecting a Browns upset. I'm not expecting a Ravens loss. I'm not even getting my hopes up in the slightest glimmer of an iota of a chance. Not even a little bit. But we will be live for it because it's going to be entertaining, and it'll most likely be a blowout, but we'll still be live for it.
Yeah,
why not?
I mean, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very eventful Saturday evening / Saturday night when it pertains to the AFC North.
And concepts. I love the idea, speaking into existence, a Minka pick 6. It's been a while. Let's get it, man.
It wouldn't be the first time he did against Joe Burrow.
Absolutely. We'll love to see it, man. Anyway, y'all can manifest some good energy and some good vibes for tomorrow is always a good thing. I'm going to manifest the same thing. I'm hoping for a great game for the Steelers, a victory, and a little bit of an improved football team and give us a little bit of hope and confidence heading into the playoffs, man. That's why I really want at the end of the day, plus a win tomorrow and a shovel for the Bengals. It's always a good time. See you guys tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys for joining us on this live stream. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this live stream for Week 18 as we close out the regular season. Check them out at betus.com and sign up using their promo code YouTube150 for a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 like I mentioned when signing up today. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring with us. Thank you guys for joining us on another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow mid-afternoon and tomorrow night for the AFC North Showdown is what we're calling it on the channel. So see you guys tomorrow night for all that. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. See you tomorrow, man. You guys have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend and can't wait to spend it with you tomorrow, man. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers. Beat the Bengals and let's head to Houston. Here we go, man.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!